off
Yes,
earlier on.
we did lose the live streaming. We're back, and the let me tell you what we heard last from you. You had read the I think it was the statement from one
The vision statement
the vision statement from who was it again that you read from?
from the Cape Independence Advocacy Group,
Right.
the one that is actually advocating for the independence of the Western Cape as the independent sovereign state outside of South Africa.
And here we're talking about and they mentioned the Cape of Good Hope, which is interesting. All right, so we'll come back to that. So from there, you were we after that we didn't hear much. So if you could pick up from there to say, in the broader picture, what that meant, because I think you were kind of fleshing that out for us. We lost most of that.
Yeah, I was explaining their strategy of balkanizing, weakening the current state, so to consolidate, their power. They are paralyzing the ANC. They are disempowering, disorganizing the ANC, so to consolidate their power. So they are creating this independent, white colonial sovereign state in the Western Cape, taking Western Cape, that province, away from South Africa to be another Israel, because they want to create a state which is going to be powerful militarily, economically, so to have ability even to protect white people here in occupied Tanzania, even in the continent, in the entire continent. So there is a project to consolidate white power. Even this Dudula movement, March and March anti-immigration movement, is part and parcel of divide and rule strategy to consolidate, whiteness, white power here in this criminal settler colony. Yeah, because these people function as mercenaries. They are not activists who seek to restore the dignity of African people. No, they are actually creating discord among Black people. They are actually creating the unnecessary tension among African people who are supposed to work together, who are supposed to consolidate their African power, so to embark on the struggle to advance the anti-colonial struggle. Because our brothers from Zimbabwe, our sisters from Mozambique, from Malawi, from Tanzania, who are in this part of the African continent, are here for a reason, and they've been here for a very long time, for more than 100 years, because there is a lie that they just came in this part of the African continent just yesterday. It is not true. African people, they were taken from Tanzania, from Mozambique, from Malawi to work in the mines in Johannesburg by white people. They built this country together with the indigenous people of this land. So it is not true that this country was only, built by the Africans who are South Africans only. Hence today we are being told that the people from Mozambique, they must go back home, as if they never contributed in the building of this settler colony called South Africa. But the truth of the matter is that what we are seeing here in this criminal settler colony is the continuation of neo-colonialism, settler colonialism, and the consolidation of power, white power by the European, while they are dividing Africans. So to be weak, to fight back, because they are here to colonize us, they are here to conquer us, and they know that we are destined to fight back. They know that we are destined to organize ourselves and overthrow their colonial system. So they are devising ways and means, strategies that can prolong colonialism, the exploitation of the African continent. So what we are seeing right now is part and parcel of their strategy to maintain whiteness, white domination, and the subjugation of Black people under the tutelage of white power, white terror in this occupied Azania.
To what extent has the lessons from apartheid not been learned or taught? The history of apartheid and the liberation struggle and those who fought. You talk about those who came from Mozambique and Zimbabwe and Zambia and so on. To what extent are those lessons being taught to the younger generations in the homes, in the schools? How come so much has been forgotten?
Last year, I tried to link up with another high school in my area with the intention to assist the students who are doing history in that school. But when I was inquiring about their history subject in that school, I was told that there is no history subject at all in that high school, So in the post-1994 South Africa, we are seeing a society which is not promoting any value of about our struggle, about our African history, about our African identity, about our African culture and spirituality. They are not interested at all in those areas of life. The only thing which is happening, they are only preparing the students to learn the subjects which are relevant to the capital, which are relevant to the current, white terror project, because they seek to create Africans without African consciousness, because South Africanness itself is a genocidal entity. I mean, to be a South African, you must be white, just like a Rhodesian. A Rhodesian was a white person. South Africa is a white person. They defined themselves as African, and they gave themselves that identity that we are South Africans, and these natives of the land are Bantus, are Africans and all that. And in 1910, we saw white people coming together to establish a union of South Africa, British and Dutch settlers, and they gave themselves that identity called South Africa. So for African people today, black people to be South Africans, this is part and parcel of being Europeanized, being colonized, and being actually co-opted in the establishment of the Europeans. So the only thing that we are experiencing in the post-1994 South Africa is the assimilation of black people to whiteness, to white culture, to white identity, to white schools, to white behavior. We don't see the government doing anything to teach even the young ones about their history, the history of the struggle in the African continent, here in occupied Azania. The only thing that they are doing, they are teaching them their side of history, pushing their narrative, because they will teach the student about Nelson Mandela, they will teach the student about the ANC's history, but they are not prepared to teach the very same student about Mangaliso Sobukwe, who was a Pan-Africanist, who opposed the ANC, who get out of the ANC and established the Pan-Africanist Congress with the intention of advancing the African cause. They will never teach that history to the students. They will never teach them about Bantu Biko, the black consciousness, philosophy, and ideology, because it is against their political interest, because the ANC's political interests are intertwined with the interest of the colonizer. Because post-1994, the National Party of de Klerk combined itself with the ANC, and they became part and parcel of the ANC. So the current ANC is no longer the ANC of Oliver Tambo, is no longer the ANC of the 60s. This is the ANC that came into the administration in 1994 through Government of National Unity. It was GNU even that time, hence de Klerk was the deputy president and Mandela was the president, and the next deputy president was Thabo Mbeki. So ANC has no program of educating the black people because it is politically, socially, and economically against their interests to teach proper history to the African people, to the African communities, to the African youths and children. So it is the responsibility of the people in the community, just like us, who are having community-based education programs to teach our people about the true history of Africa, the true history of our struggle, because we don't have the same interest with the ANC. Our interests are people-centered, are African-centered, and also our identity. We function as African people. We are not South African, some of us. We never embrace that identity because we know and we understand that South Africa is a genocidal colonial identity which was imposed on us through colonial violence. And it is not our responsibility to embrace that. Our responsibility, according to my ancestors, is to fight back, to destroy South Africa so that we can create and build the Africa that we know. Because we belong to a nation, not to countries. Countries are a project of colonialism. We belong to a nation, and the nation that we belong to is an African nation. So the ANC is nothing else but the lapdogs of the Europeans, and they are not interested at all to embark on that program of educating our people about their true history. Instead, they are pushing a distorted history, which is actually in the service of the African people.
And this is the point, and this plays right into the wider strategy of the white supremacists and those who would want to reclaim South Africa, as we see the chants coming out of the United States from white nationalists there to reclaim the United States, and the chants coming out of the United Kingdom from Tommy Robinson and them, reclaim the United Kingdom. The chants coming out of Ireland, reclaim Ireland, the chants coming out of Argentina. This is a movement of the fear, I think, of white people losing themselves and losing power, that we see that every single element of, whether you call it xenophobia, whether you call it immigration, whether you call it ICE, whether you call it NICE, it doesn't matter what you call it. It's a very same movement, and I want to come back and talk about that for a minute. Let me take a quick break and come back.
For 50 years, that has been the sound of many NHD contributors getting the keys to their own home.
I remember that day.
It's a joyous feeling, a wonderful feeling.
Mother have, father have, but blessed is the child who has his own. So you set your own rules.
Once you get your own, hey
is yours.
Freedom, joy.
And you also have a legacy for future generations.
The National Housing Trust.
50 years of building communities and housing generations.
Start your Christmas shopping early and give the gift of Jamaica. Join us at Christmas in July, Jamaica's premier corporate gifting trade show, July 9 and 10 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Discover more than 180 local artisans and manufacturers showcasing authentic Jamaican gifts, gourmet treats, fashion, jewelry, home decor, wellness products, and so much more. Perfect for your staff, clients, and loved ones. Presented by the Ministry of Tourism through the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Christmas in July makes it easy to support local and buy Jamaican. Admission is free. Come and discover gifts that are proudly made in Jamaica.
From the creators of Money Fridays, we introduce to you another Radio First. Grab back.
Stay locked into Irie FM on the 107 this and every Monday in the wake-up call for Grab Bag, and you could win up to $50,000 cash weekly, plus other prizes.
All you have to do is call Irie FM when you hear it's Grab Bag time. Tell the announcer which bag to dip into and what comes up up is yours just like that.
It could be a gift from a sponsor. It could be $10,000. It could be $30,000. It could be a whopping $50,000. Or it could be, sorry, try again.
But if you don't have a representing hand in the bag, you don't have a chance.
Grab Bag is brought to you courtesy of
Tiles R Us Limited, Banners Valley, St. Elizabeth. Tiles R Us.
Somebody say something about party. Drop the bass and the Seafood Shack present Retro by the Sea. Live in concert, the living legend Leroy Sibbles with the Platinum Elite Band. But you see when me pull up on the Seafood Shack in the Rio Nuevo St. Mary, Sunday, July 5, the gates are open at 12 o'clock. So come out early and watch the game on big screen. And then come 8 o'clock, showtime. Come for the retro and leave with the memories.
It's festival time again, and we go in search of the soundtrack for our independence celebrations, the Jamaica Festival Song. The panelists have been chosen, and the songs are creating lots of excitement. The Jamaica Festival Song presentation show takes place on Saturday, July 11. Randy Williams Entertainment Center, 8:30 p.m. Admission free. So fling on your big heel boot and come cheer on your favorite song. Festival noise again.
Get ready for a night of music, wine, and entertainment at Elegance. The Ballroom Experience. A night of 70s, 80s, and 90s Soul's classics.
Don't play it no more.
Sunday, July 19th at the Jamaica Pegasus Ballroom. With music by Master Raj, Crazy Chris, DJ VJ Snow, and Welton Irie. Admission $10,000 general, $15,000 VIP. Hors d'oeuvres and wine will be served. Start time 5 p.m. until 11 p.m. Sponsored by Swift Car Rental, Just Water, Tropical Bliss, and Sign Channel.
All right, we're back with you inside of the Africa Forum. This is Running Africa, live from South Africa. Ras Avive Amunwa is on the phone lines with us. He's on Zoom, actually, if you're watching on YouTube, IG, Facebook, and wherever you're checking us out on the Irie FM app, etc., etc. We are streaming live. Ras Amunwa, an interesting thing, because Elon Musk's dad was on Alex Jones' program, and he said something that I find fascinating. We can't take all of it, but I just want you to listen to, I don't know if you saw it before, but just listen to a little bit of what he said talking about South Africa, talking about the father of Elon Musk, who himself is part of the settler colonial project that of South Africa. Let's hear this.
I've had farmers, a group of farmers came to my home.
Okay, we're not hearing the audio.
When Trump came in and Elon was helping Trump.
But we're not getting
and they came, I thought one or two would come up.
Hopefully we'll get the audio up in a minute. What I can tell you, if we can get it up, is that he said he denied apartheid oppression. If you can get it up, let me know. He denied that black South Africans were oppressed during the apartheid era. He credited the white minority with historically feeding, and I'm quoting there, the black population and providing them with employment. And he made a highly controversial statement regarding shifts in demographic majorities, warning that Western nations risk going back to the jungle. And he talked about the resettlement efforts that Donald Trump is carrying on, where Donald Trump is saying, and there are many resettlement efforts he talked about. One particular is this thing where Donald Trump says that white South Africans are being oppressed and so that they are being given refugee status in the United States. He talked about African farmers relocating to rural regions in Russia, and he talks about fears of targeted violence and so on. But the bottom line is that he's speaking specifically to taking back the land, taking back South Africa. How much of this, the situation with Elon Musk, the Peter Thiels, the tech bros, if you will, that visit by Cyril Ramaphosa to Donald Trump and the discussions that happened there and how those happened, how much of this is feeding into that long-term strategy they have to reclaim or to steal again South Africa, which they never really gave up, actually. How much of this feeds into what we're seeing now?
It is part and parcel of the whole project of white terror, because the father of Elon Musk is based in the Western Cape, in the very same province that they want to build and to establish an independent, sovereign, white power state here in occupied Azania, So, what the father of Elon Musk is alluding to is actually feeding to the current uproar among black people, because somehow black people who are indigenous here must be disorganized for this system, for this machinery to manifest. Because Europeans here are settlers, are invaders. They don't belong here. Not even one of them can claim even an inch of this land. They took this land through violence. They maintain their system through violence. To talk about white people losing South Africa, to talk about Africans who never experienced oppression under apartheid, that is white arrogance. That is white arrogance itself. For a European who is indigenous people of Europe, to speak about African people who are colonized and enslaved in that manner. So this white arrogance is something that as black people we must deal with, because these people, they don't respect us. Why? It's because even we black people, we don't even respect our blackness. We don't respect our Africanness. Hence, they are able to do what they are doing, because the mere fact that we are South Africans, we are playing in into their hands. We are actually becoming their pawns in their colonial game. But if you will refuse to be South African, if you will refuse to be their puppets, their pawns in this game, we'll be able to develop our own way of doing things. We will be able to develop our African strategy, which is influenced by the collective experience of African people, not just the experience of African people here in this criminal settler colony called South Africa, but I'm talking about the whole experience of African people here in the continent and even outside of the continent. The South Africanization of African people is part and parcel of their strategy to psychologically enslave us into their web of whiteness, so that we cannot evolve and be an independent sovereign people, because you cannot be a South African and an African at the same time, because the existence of South Africa is to destroy Africa. And if you function as a South African, you are a colonial agent. You are instilling colonialism, colonial value system. So we African people, we must decolonize our minds, embrace our Africanness, embrace our blackness, and function as African people, not as South Africans. So their project is, is extending to these riots that we are seeing, among the poor people on the ground, because, we are actually catching the cold from the master's flu, yes.
And we underscore that. Let me go now to, I think we have the audio on Elon Musk's father speaking to Alex Jones about this very project that we hear from our brother Rasa Viwe.
I've had a group of farmers came to my home when Trump came in, and Elon was helping Trump, and they came. I thought one or two would come. About 20 to 30 farmers came to my home, and they pleaded with me to ask my son to persuade Trump to force the South African ANC government to do away with BEE, because their words were, "It is killing us. It is killing our farms. We cannot operate anymore like this." And I said to them, very weak police force.
Let's take that.
Just to mention, last month the Minister of
Masaviva, that I want to pay specific attention to is that I've been following Elon Musk for a very, very long time, long before he became this very popular figure. I remember when I talked about him first in this space, people thought I was talking about a cologne. So I've been watching him for a very long time, and he's doing exactly what he set out to do. One of the things that he plans to do is to cover the earth with satellite, because this is part of a techno-colonialism that we're heading towards. And I know that he, from very early, many years now, he's been, and we heard his father talked about that BEE, right? Black Economic Empowerment in South Africa. This is part of the Constitution of South Africa, if you will, out on the backside of apartheid. Now, he has been fanning the flames long before he even went into Doge, about the fact that South Africa is being mismanaged, that the ANC is in crisis, and that decent people, use his term, decent people, and people who know and people who can run this country must do so. And so when we saw that delegation going into the White House, and we saw Cyril Ramaphosa being a black coon, that this was a part of this wider strategy to destroy South Africa for their own purposes. How important is South Africa to people like him, but within the techno-colonialism project, how important is South Africa, or Azania, because let me say this, outside of the balkanization, to them? And how, as I asked you last time, how close are they to winning?
There were a little bit of hiccups in...
Oh, I'm breaking up?
Earlier on, I didn't hear you.
All right, and now we're not hearing you.
Yeah, you are breaking up a little bit. You if you can,
all right, let me ask you quick, okay.
But I can hear you.
All right, let's pick up from how close are these colonialists? I want to use another word, but how close are these Nephilims and reptilians to winning?
They have won already because they are conquerors. We are subject to their terror. We are actually people who have normalized slavery. We have accepted slavery, and we see ourselves as inferior beings, and we see them as superior beings. That's why they have got this arrogance of talking about them as owners. The mere fact that he defined these white people from Europe as farmers, is another, a level of arrogance, because Europeans are criminals, all of them. They are invaders, they are criminals, and they are not farmers. These people, they are here to advance European genocide in the African continent. And unfortunately, the ANC is playing to their game, is allowing this to happen, and the revolution was aborted. And this arrogance that they have is because of what the ANC has done, to surrender at the feet of white colonial masters. I think one thing that we must take away from the Europeans is the power to define reality. As African people, we must be able to define reality in our own terms, based on our own observation, because how they define reality is based on their parasitic, vampiric interest, and we have to find ways and means on how to define reality. That's why I'm saying these people, they are not even farmers. Even those who were taken to America, for example, as refugees, none of them are farmers, those people, because why? Europeans are liars. They don't lie sometimes, they lie all the time, especially for those who are oppressed, enslaved, colonized and domesticated. You know, they are pushing the narrative that serves their interest. So they've conquered us. And we have to accept that reality that we are enslaved, because we never overthrown white supremacy here. In 1994, we aborted the revolution. So ours is to accept the reality that we are a defeated people, so that we can now start to have a program of liberating ourselves from the European vampires. Because if we propagate the lie that we are an independent nation, we are in power, you know, we have democracy, I mean, that will also be misleading ourselves as well. And it's better to be truthful and honest, brutally honest about our reality, that white people, they've managed to manipulate us, to deceive us. And they have actually won, you know, the battle that they have declared on us in 1652, because they are still dominating us even today. The land, the industry, the economy is still owned by the Europeans. So ours is to organize ourselves for revolution. And that is the only solution for us, is to revolt against these people. So to destroy this white arrogancy, so to destroy their colonial machinery, which is sustained through violence. And if we are not prepared to sacrifice our life for the cause of the African liberation, we want to talk about peaceful revolution, we want to reform apartheid, we want to reform colonialism. Let's forget that we will even attain a state of liberty if we function in that manner. Ours is to accept the reality that we are in and to embark on the real revolution. And the revolution is about overthrowing the system of colonialism, you know, so to take over our land, space, and everything within the land, so that we can claim sovereignty, we can be a sovereign people, you know. Yes, Sister Kapu. So that is the situation. I don't see us as people who have managed to resist coloniality. Instead, they've managed to conquer us. We are a conquered people, defeated people, Sister Kabu. Ours is to start from scratch, from the basic, from the ground, and to build the necessary movement for revolution to take over.
My brother, it is our situation, and we must face it to change it. We must diagnose it to treat it. And this is basically what you're saying to us. Thank you so much, my brother Ras Aviwe Amonwa Timori. Sister P says hi. By the way, she's listening to you at the minute.
Wow. I have to pass my magnificent love to my mother, Mama P, Mama Ayabingi, you know, Congo Rasti and Mama Audrey. I always think about them all the time, you know. I love my family, and we are always one all the time.
Thank
you know, so just tell them that is my message to them, you know. Right. And I'm waiting to receive the family here in the continent when you decide to come over.
And
we're looking forward to connect.
I will talk with you again soon. Thank you so much, my brother, for taking the time.
No, give thanks, Sister Kabu.
We're ready for the revolution.
Less sugar is best to prevent the outcome of future illness. Less sugar is best. No added sugar, no added stress. From non-communicable diseases like obesity as well as type 2 diabetes. Ingredients if you read it, ensure say nothing never added for increase the sweetness. Check the nutrition facts. Sugar's less than 6%, then you can relax. Syrup and soda, we don't need that. Eat veggies and fruits instead of sweet snacks, cause less sugar is best. No added sugar, no added stress.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Last year, over 15,000 gathered for an unforgettable moment with CC Winans. This year, Come Alive Collective presents Come Alive, a national call to worship featuring Michael W. Smith, Papa San, Jermaine Edwards, John Mark Wigan, and more. Saturday, August 1, King's House East Lawn. Gates open 2 p.m. Get your tickets now at Fontana Pharmacy or TouchstoneLink.com. Come Alive, Jamaica. This is your moment.
Somebody says something about party. Drop the bass and the Seafood Shack present Retro by the Sea. Live in concert, the living legend Leroy Siblings with the Platinum Elite Band. But to see when me pull up on the Seafood Shack in the Real Nuevo St. Mary. Sunday, July 5. The gates are open at 12 o'clock. And enjoy classical selections from
Digital Crib.
And drop the bass. And then come 8 o'clock. Showtime! Come for the retro and leave with the memories.
Get ready for Little Ochi Seafood Carnival 2026, Sunday, July 12th at the Little Ochi Alligator Pond, Manchester. Powered by Water, Coca-Cola, Rainforest, Tiles R Us, Creamy, MBM, KVC, and R1 Communications. Experience over 75 seafood dishes. Live cooking by Blackie, the king of seafood. Little Ochi Seafood Carnival, a celebration of food, culture, and community.
Cricket, wonderful cricket is back at Sabina Park with 6 exciting white ball matches between the West Indies and Sri Lanka. 3 one-day international gets the excitement going, followed by 3 T20 internationals and then 2 test matches in Antigua from June 25 to July 3. The Sporting Choice Irie FM has daily match summaries with the star commentator of the Caribbean, Andrew Mason. It's brought to you courtesy of New Horizon Pharmacy. We source, we supply, we satisfy. Real deal windows and doors for the best deals on windows, doors, shower enclosures, and glass railings. Falmouth Chicken, looking for scrumptious food? Falmouth Chicken is simply the best. Open every day. Beverly Hills Pharmacy, guiding you to a better health. And Contractor Music Marketing, promoting Good Up, the hit single from Chris Thomas and Shaka Paul, now available on all digital platforms. Good up, good up, get it, good up, good up. Cricket, wonderful cricket. West Indies against Sri Lanka.
All right, we're back with you inside of the Africa Forum. This is Running African. We're going through until 10 o'clock, and that's when the Big A comes in with this Sunday Sunshine. All right, we're standing by to speak with my next guest, Maurice Thompson, Imhotep. He's an educator, community advocate, former lecturer, journalist, and senior regulator in Jamaica's gaming industry with over 20 years of experience in education, governance, public policy, and youth development. And he previously served as an adjunct lecturer in international business at the University of the West Indies. He holds an MBA in international business from the University of the West Indies and a Bachelor of Business Administration in Management from the University of Technology, UTech. We're standing by for my brother. From 2012 to 2022, my brother Maurice held senior leadership roles at the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission, where he contributed regulatory policy, compliance, and public education within Jamaica's gaming industry. He's a passionate advocate for youth development and has supported students through initiatives such as donating learning devices during COVID-19, the pandemic, and sponsoring a breakfast program at a rural primary school. He is also leading plans to establish a 100 all-boys summer camp in Jamaica, focused on mentoring, mentorship, education, leadership, entrepreneurship, and positive male development. Through his work, Maurice remains committed to empowering young people and creating opportunities that foster leadership, resilience, and community transformation. And this morning, we're going to be talking about boys in education and our boys generally in education here in Jamaica. Maurice Thompson joins us by Zoom. So you're seeing him now, I think. Maurice, we're just seeing the top of your head. Morning, how are you doing?
Good morning, how are you doing? Morning, your listeners.
Good to see you again. We call Maurice my satellite producer when I'm on the program because a lot of the information that comes from you. My brother, I know you have a special interest in education generally, but particular when it comes to our boys. And I want to go there because the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information has announced that it's about to establish a boys committee to develop strategies aimed at improving the academic performance of male students. And this is coming after the 2026 primary exit profile, the PEP results, which again show that girls significantly outperformed boys in core subjects. The Jamaica Information Service is reporting that in language arts, 80.2% of girls achieved proficiency compared with 63.5% of boys, which is a gap of 16.7%. In mathematics, the figures are there too, and we'll say them as we go through. 73.2% for girls, 64.9% for boys. What are the challenges? Why do we keep having this year after year after year? I've been having this conversation in this space, as you know, forever.
Yes. Very well.
Why haven't we been able to fix it?
Multifaceted, Kabu, and it's
Maurice, fix your computer, man. We only see your head top. Fix the computer, Maurice. There you go. Yes, that's better.
That's okay. That's better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's multifaceted, Kabu, and it's not a Jamaican issue. And I want to go over some issues. It's actually a global issue. I'd want to go over, probably what I think is the problem.
Yes.
And what are some of the solutions that we think can forward to close that gap.
Yes.
But first, I'd want to clear up some misconceptions. This is a topic that I've spoken about, and sometimes persons get misunderstand. So when we talk about closing the education gap in Jamaica, it does not, and I repeat, it does not mean reducing the opportunities for girls. That is critical, because some persons think it's a boy versus girl situation. I want to clear it up from the outset. That is not the situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have a daughter, and their achievement should be celebrated.
Yes.
I also have a son, as you know.
Yes, I know. Yes.
Yes. The challenge is to lift boys to the same level of success as the girls, because a country cannot achieve its full potential when one half of its young population is consistently underachieving. The goal must therefore be excellence for every child, regardless of gender. And the future of Jamaica will not be determined by whether girls continue to succeed. They should. It will be determined by whether we can ensure that boys succeed alongside them, because true gender equality in education means that leaving no child behind.
Mm-hmm.
You rightly point out, today our greatest challenge is not getting girls into school. It's ensuring that boys remain engaged, achieve academically, and successfully into higher education and the rest. As you said, the current situation in Jamaica, girls outperform boys. Higher PEP scores, as you outlined, better attendance, lower suspensions, higher C-Sec passes, higher K passes, greater university enrollment, and higher university completion rates. It's from the early childhood got right through university. In Jamaica, tertiary level, which is what we see in the result, female outnumber male. The female ratio is about 67, between 67 and 80%, depending on where University of West Indies, University of Technology, UCC. So we have a situation where up to 4 or 5 persons in the universities are female. This cannot be sustainable for a country, Kabu. Cannot be sustainable. But the challenge began long before university. The gap actually starts in primary schools, until through secondary school, where boys become more disengaged, receive more disciplinary referrals, repeat grade almost twice as often as boys. The dropout rate is significantly higher, and they underperform in literacy. By the time C-Secs arrive, many boys are already lost in the race, Kabu. Totally gone. It's like they can't catch up again.
And you talk about high school. Hold there for me, Maurice. Let me take a quick break.
Safe, reliable, great value. Always buy from an authorized IGL dealer. The time by IGL is
now 7:49. by CSEC, you're saying it's a done deal. It's hardly there is hardly any chance of correcting the problem at that level.
It's impossible, Kabu. And anybody, anyone who thinks, and I'll go over some strategies in terms of how we can remedy the situation. Mm-hmm. But if we're going to wait until the high school level to remedy the situation, Kabu, the horse is already bolted and we don't even know where the horse is.
What is causing this though? Do we know what's the cause?
As I said, I'm going to go through Kabu.
Yes.
So over the last decade, something that girls have maintained strong academic gains more than boys. While boys' outcome have improved slowly. I think this year 7 out of the top 10 grades at the PEP level were actually boys. But that didn't take away from the fact that the gap between the both genders are still wide, remain the same. Female, as I said, female dominate tertiary education, and employees increasingly report shortages of qualified young men entering profession. And you use a term, Kabu, that I've copied with you. It's a more structural problem, Kabu, than a one. Mm-hmm. It's a structural problem.
All right.
Yes, a structural problem.
But Maurice, you know that we've been hearing that forever, though. I can tell you, you remember from the days of Dr. McGill in the space, right?
Yes.
Dr. Sidney McGill, who, are we talking about the early 90s, mid-90s, all the way into the 2010s? We've heard that it's a structural problem. So this we know. You're talking about 2 decades, 3 decades, 3 decades.
Yes.
Yes. For me personally, since I've been having the conversation, I'm quite sure long before me. So what do we do about this fact now that it's a structural problem? All right, talk to us about why it remains a structural problem then, though, because since we know this.
All right. It's a biologically, socially, as a person, girls develop reading skills and other skills quicker than boys.
Yes.
And literacy underpins every subject. Reading underpins every subject. If they can't read, they can't understand. There's nothing you can do. So that is part of the problem. School. How do we reward kids in school? Sitting still, organization, verbal communication, and homework completion. All these are geared towards females. I can give you an example. When I think grade 2 at a school and I went to pick him up, the teacher said he was misbehaving. Why was he misbehaving? It was an aftercare and he wanted to go outside to play. The care team was sitting. The aftercare assigned whatever they do was sitting inside and watch cartoon. All the girls got good grades because that's what girls do. Boys can't be judged on the same way. And it's a multifaceted. So when probably about 90 to 95% of our teachers are female, Kabu, they want the class to behave like female. So boys are easily put aside and called, troublemakers, assigned all kind of names. So from early they are being ostracized because they don't fit into that, need sitting still, the organization, those things that are associated with girls. So we start alienating our boys from very early. I remember, Kabu, a lot of these boys come from homes without any male. They go to school, no male. So it leaves them for the first probably 10, 12 years of their life without any kind of male interaction. And that has a devastating psychological effect on them. How teaches them to become a man? A female, certainly, you can't help you, but a female can't teach a boy how to become a man. She has never been a man.
I know it's not like a pause for effect, but, I am just at a loss, as always, when we talk about this particular issue. So, I know lots of women take pride in saying, they father their boys and children talk about mother fathering. But as we have said, and as I in this space many times, and as I hear you saying, mothers really can't father. And kudos to you for standing in and taking care of a child. We're not saying go out and get a father, but you're saying even the system, you're coming from a home where, okay, there's no father for whatever reason. Father might have died. Father probably traveling. Father is probably just absent, but no father. And this is the reality of a lot of Jamaican homes. But I hear you saying a school doesn't take that into consideration either, on many levels, but mainly, as I heard you said, that the education system are mainly female teachers. But so how do we impact change from Teachers College? Can't we do that?
Well, you're getting ahead of me.
Okay, all right. Let me let you. Yeah.
and also there are one of the things I want to talk to Kabu is the different social expectations of boys. They are not expect academic success in a school. Work is important in education.
They are not expected to succeed academically. This is what you're saying.
Academically, no.
Who
They are not
don't expect it? Them not expect it, or we not expect it?
No, I just general society. You mean you're a boy? You can go to. You can do something. You don't need the girls need education. You do. As a matter of fact, I think there was a Dr. Gale who recently came in. The investment. Mothers probably prefer investment in their daughters compared to their son. They see the son is going to leave them shortly after. So there's a lot of social negativity around our boys that that needs to be stopped at various levels. Not only at the home, but at the school and the general society who will look at our boys.
Mm-hmm.
So you spoke about, a lot of research speaks about family instability, absence of fathers, and weak mentoring disproportionately affecting boys more than girls. So those are some of the issues. You talk about when I went to school, there probably half of the teaching population was male. I mean, it's rare when you see a male teacher in today's school. As a matter of fact, one of the worrying things for me is that now I see a lot of physical education teachers, like the football coaches, being females. So boy, all his interaction, probably right through his from primary school to high school life, is all female mentors, all female teachers. How do you think like a male? How do we get that male thinking in his mind?
You said before, I can't tell you how many, I don't know if it's me keep looking down the phone because messages are coming in crazily on this topic. And you said before that it's structural. And quite a few persons are saying, yes, it is systemic, yet it is structural. And that is the problem. I also have many persons talking about something that you mentioned also, that boys learn different from girls. All right, so we say that over and over again. But because of that, I'm going to take a break and come back and let us look at, it seems to me as so many of us know what the problems are. And I know you have been focused on solutions, including...
Yes, I'm focused. Yes, I'll come with solutions after the break.
So let me take a break and we'll come back to solutions.
Right.
You get chopped? Not take that. Make Mocha, FIB and the police help you. Call 311 or 1-888-662-2847. The time by the FID, Mocha and the JCF is...
Do I have it? Okay, now 7:58. You're inside of the Africa Forum and we're looking at boys' education and the system in Jamaica. We all agree it's systemic. We're looking at the PEP results, for example, and Maurice is on the phone. My friend Yannick Pessoa, who's been in this space, sending us an article. I think he wrote, the whole fully dunce culture. Remember that whole thing that came up? There's some lot of research on that also. And the point you raised that boys are not expected to learn. Charles Hyatt Jr. is saying, take the male out of the equation, control the society. All right, so let me go to you, Maurice Thompson, to say again, how do we begin to address this?
All right, so there are countries who had the same problem, Kabu, and they have put in things to enhance, to turn it around. Finland, they use personalized learning.
Maurice, listen, I'm not going to tell you again. We only sing the top of your head. Please, yes.
You see me now?
Yeah, I know you're looking at your notes, so hold up your notes so that we can see you properly, because we only sing the top of your head. Even now, we just sing the top of it. We just see your shirt here now, top of head again. And this is for those who are watching online, right? Those on YouTube and IG and Facebook. And a lot of people are texting me to say we're only seeing him head, right? But I was still seeing only your head, so I can't do nothing else about it. But go ahead, let's look at the solutions.
Right, so Finland actually had the problem, the personalized learning, intervention, additional literacy support, and special education at the primary. The gender gap narrowed considerably. Singapore, continuous assessment of boys, mentoring, teacher training, and early identification of struggling students. Students receive full support if they fall permanently behind. Ireland, they invested heavily in boys literature program, reading campaigns, male reading ambassadors, community mentoring. Literacy improved significantly. And in the UK, was introduced mentoring program, apprenticeship program, practical learning, vocational excellence. So my recommendation for Jamaica, Kabu, one would be to make literacy a national priority. Every boy should be able to
make literacy a national priority. Now they have literacy. I have a sister, for example, who is a literacy teacher. And she keeps saying to me that she wonders all the time. She's placed in a high school, and she says it seems to her as if we're doing this from the wrong way around, that there are literacy teachers in high schools across Jamaica, and we do not have the same complement at the primary level, which is where you're saying, and probably even the basic.
That is where. I mean, Kabu, I think last year two things came out which I found staggering. I think Holy Trinity said that 95% of their grade 7 cohort couldn't read above the grade 2 level.
Yes.
I mean, how do you? That is almost impossible. That's 9 out of every 10 students can't read above their level. And then there's another one, I think with Pembroke Hall, talking about 70% of the kids can't read at the grade 4 or grade 3 level, and you're in grade 7. And we don't realize that we need to go back and find out where are these kids coming from. Are we going to take another cohort this year with the same problem? What are you? And these high schools are looked on now as poor schools. What do we expect the teachers and the principal to do when they get kids at grade 7 who can't read at grade 2 and grade 3 level, Kabu? What do you expect the school to do?
What do you think about the remedies announced by the Minister of Education, because we were looking at them? They're actually on the screen there. Have you looked at them?
Yes, I've looked at them, but you see, the structure, Kabu, needs to be fixed. As we said, these can fix the cracks, but the structure needs to fix. And remember, we have been putting solutions to this problem, because this is not overnight. But the problem is the structure still remain. How do we fix the structure? How do we get more males in school? How do we get male mentors to mentor the boys? How do we get more males in homes? Those are the challenges we're having, Those are the challenges, because what we have now is a group of 14-year-olds who can't read, leading themselves. They're all together. No, the blind leading the blind. Somebody needs to be above them, guiding them, providing some kind of spiritual, academic, social guidance to these boys.
It's not very often that I'm silent on this program, but I'm silent right now. I really don't have anything to say, because these issues seem pretty obvious. Yannick is saying that he was, teaching at Cornwall College. He wondered at the time he was teaching there whether or not there was a deliberate self-filtering of boys happening, and he's saying, if that self-filtering had other motivations, but so many people are saying stuff like this coming into me this morning. When you say make literacy a priority, what would that look like?
What reading? It has to be persons. You can't move from grade 1 to grade 2, Kabu, and can't read, and you read grade 6 and can't read. and can't read. That must something that must be addressed at the national level. No child should leave school and can't read. If you can't read, there's no subject you can do, Kabu. Even if you go in technical subjects, electronics, you need to read. You have to have some literacy level. And I think you pointed out, literacy teachers cannot be at the high school, Kabu. They cannot be them at the level before that. Because one of the problem, boys, we're men, we have an ego. When a boy reaches like grade 7 or grade 8, he can't read, Kabu. He trying this guy, he doesn't want anybody to know. It affects his ego. When he's in grade 2 and can't read it, he doesn't even understand it. No, you can teach him at that time. All he gets before he teach him to read is
so this kind of learning, and I see that
difficult it gets because a lot of social that comes into place.
This kind of learning is not happening at the basic school level. This kind of learning and teaching not happening at the basic school level.
Yeah, no.
So what is happening at the basic school level?
I think there's a certification level for early childhood, a certification target. I think we wanted to certify 100% of early childhood institution by 2030, and we 70% by 2020. I couldn't tell you where we are now, Kabu.
How serious is this in terms of boys learning? What do we know? How serious is it?
We don't collect a lot of data on these things, Kabu, but interacting with boys, being out there, you can definitely see that there's an issue. There's a significant issue. It has gotten worse, especially since COVID.
My sister, this is my biggest sister, who is in Tunisia. She's an educator. She's listening online. She says they probably need to look at how they're teaching phonics. If this was taught properly, there's no way the boys wouldn't be able to read. Father or no father, the government needs to make sure that phonics begins as early as basic school. And she says, all of my class learn to read, and they are age 5 and 6. It is how phonics is taught. But you're saying at that age 5, 6, that is not happening in
that is not happening. There are no KPIs and to indicate that 100% of our grade 2 kids must read at this level. And so we don't have any data to say what percentage of our kids at grade 1 are not reading at that level, and what are the programs to ensure that we close the gap.
Maurice, I put it to you that this is deliberate. This has to be deliberate. Because every educator say you're supposed to be teaching children from in the womb. And yes. Every educator know the process, the steps, and so on. And grade 2, 3, and so on, and you're not teaching phonics?
That is a fundamental problem, Kabu. Kids going to high school and can't read. When they get a grade 8 student who can't read, Kabu, what do you do with that child?
My sister, who's a teacher, will tell her, ask me that question all the time. Said, she said, do you understand what is happening? And I am not responsible. But she's reaching out to me all the time to say this. Do you understand what is happening? That how many boys are going through the system, even up to graduation, coming out on the other side, as you're saying, at CSEC age, but reading at grade 2 level.
Yes. What kind of crack in our system for so big enough for that to happen, Kabu?
You tell me, Marisa, you're the expert.
I'm trying to find the questions and solutions. I can't see how a child leave from grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and reach up to grade 9 and can't read. And we have a system in place that evaluates them at the end of every year and moves them on to another form, Kabu.
I don't, you keep asking me these questions, Maurice. I'm going to throw them over to Peter. I cannot answer these questions. You can't turn around and interview me. But I understand that it's rhetorical. But yes. So what do we do? So you see, 8 minutes after 8 o'clock. I know that the situation is bad, and you're taking us through some of the solutions. And one is make literacy a priority. I know that Damian Crawford has filed a suit in the court, a lawsuit, taking the government to court to say we're pulling off more or less a fraud government on our students because we're not teaching them at the basic school level, and the education is not for all, it's not equal. And what's happening at the basic school level, I know that that's part of his case. I should ask Damien where that case is now. And I don't know if you have eyes on it, but last time he was on, he said that.
I'm actually through the course to see what happens.
Okay.
I don't know Damien, I don't know anybody from this, but I'm like an independent education observer.
I know, but we're keeping eyes on things, and especially because
I'm keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, we're keeping
an eye on it.
Because where we are now, obviously we're in crisis. We're in a crisis now, because every year we have, for the last 3 decades, we have how many boys leaving how many high schools, going into the system, the working world, only reading at grade 2, 3, 4, grade 3, 4, 5 level, and dropping out of the high school, not going on further, but they're in the system. How does this feed back on some of the issues that we're having now as a nation?
All right, Kabu, let's finish the recommendation first.
Yes, go ahead.
The second one, if this recruit more male teachers, it just seems so obvious to me. Need more male teachers in the system.
Why are men? But isn't this a vicious cycle? Because if the
vicious cycle.
If you're leaving school and can't read, or you're going to reach university, or you're going to reach college.
We left male left the teaching system because of a poor salary.
Because of poor salary, but
yes.
But the point I'm making is that if you have so many boys, disproportionate, who are dropping out of school,
where are going to get them from?
How are you going to get them into college?
I don't know. But that fact, when I look at the teachers' colleges in Jamaica, the male-female ratio is actually worse than at the UE and UTech.
Teachers' colleges.
When I look at it, when you go to churches and St. Joseph and Monique, when you see a male, it's rare on the campus walking. That's how bad it is.
But that takes us all into relationships now and marriage and so on.
Hold on, Kabu. I'm getting there. So the third recommendation for me is expand mentorship. So partner with successful men from business, from sports, from entertainment, from public affairs with schools. So some government schools with or have a mentor list, men give 2 hours a day at a particular school. A national program, Kabu, where background checks are done on males, and these males can go into school 3 hours a week and interact with guys at the primary level.
We're only seeing your head again. Come on, sit up someone.
Because I think that if boys are exposed, and I've seen it. I bring my friends, my son friends over. When they're exposed to male at an early age, their thinking and their interaction is different. In fact, even 2 hours a week, Kabu.
Mentorship.
Yes, mentorship.
But before you go on for mentorship, I remember at high school, St. Mary High School in Lower 6, that the government of Jamaica made a decision that they wanted a specific level of young people in the police force. And so there was a drive, not just at St. Mary High, but throughout the high schools for A-level students who were doing very well with, graduate A-levels, to go straight into that program that would take them to university level and so on. My good friend Beresford Williams, who is now superintendent or assistant superintendent, was in that program, And Beres, you might remember that, and we can talk about it another time. But the point I'm making is that was a concerted effort to get young people at a certain level, at a certain level, into the police force, and it worked. Mr. Beres is assistant superintendent of police now, or maybe even more. Beres called me. And so I'm thinking they could do the very same thing to get...
Same thing.
And there were incentives. There were incentives because I remember we were asking, how is this better than going to UE? What is in it for us differently? Because you're going to ask about the incentives, and there were incentives. So
And I think, Kabu, there are males who want help in Kabu, but there's no national avenue for them to come on. All right. for me, like through the Kingston, the Old Boys Association, through the PSOJ, through the Chamber of Commerce, all these businessmen, all these persons, if there's an avenue for them to help, I mean, even if it means giving some kind of, I don't know, some incentive, national incentive, because this have a lot, the long-term detrimental effect to the society, Kabul, is devastating.
I think
so whatever we can pay now and get it done, it needs to be done.
Something. I see the Minister of Education now, I had high hopes for her, like me did have high hopes for the minister before her. But now I am totally disappointed. I see her running up and down, going to England, but she can't see how them do apprenticeship in England. And she stopped at the airport to make a video of it, put on TikTok and all over, about apprenticeship in England, and they do just because this is foolishness. I want to use another F word. It's foolishness. Because how can you be running up and down as Minister of Education talking about you're going to learn how to do apprenticeship when at the basic school level, children are failing? When you have so many boys going through to high school and coming out of high school, graduating with no subject and unable to read, only reading at a grade 3 level. Maurice, this is foolishness. This is foolishness at its highest. Anyway, let me take a quick break and calm down.
Elegance, the Jamaica Pegasus Ballroom Experience, Sunday, July 19, 2026. Featuring Crazy Chris, Master Raj, Welton Irie, DJ VJ Snow. Classic souls of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. A momentous occasion where fashion meets style. The best dressed couple and the best dressed dancer will receive $1,000 US respectively. Hors d'oeuvres and wine will be served. Admission $10,000. VIP experience $15,000. The experience begins at 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Elegance.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me Kendall. Anytime of the day, night as well, just give me me Kendall. Everybody can tell taste good, great smell, just give me me Kendall. Number one in flavor, no parallel. Talk about quality, you know we excel. Spell it out, Kendel. Give me me Kendall.
Another quality product from the Carimed Group.
Just give me Kendall.
Blackie, this is where legends are born.
Watch out for this.
Time again for the bigger Little Ochi Seafood Carnival. Sunday, July 12. Come enjoy over 75 seafood dishes and rock to the sound of BS Odyssey, Star Level, and DJ Lollipop. Showtime features Busy, Chanel Muir, and Queen Ifrica. The bigger Little Ochi Seafood Carnival. Sunday, July 12. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Somebody say something about party. Drop the bass and the Seafood Shack present Retro by the Sea. Live in concert, the living legend Leroy Siblings. With a platinum elite band. But you see when me pull up on the Seafood Shack in the Rio Nuevo St. Mary. Sunday, July 5. The gates are open at 12 o'clock. So come out early and watch the game on big screen. And then come 8 o'clock. Showtime! Come for the retro and leave with the memories.
I don't know, I don't think that the Minister of Education in Jamaica, and I'm not talking about the current minister, no, just any minister should have any other portfolio considering the crisis that we're in, apart from Minister of Education. You can't have a Minister of Education being Minister of Information when Jamaica itself is a crisis, and Minister of anything else for them dash on that ministry, whether it's youth or whatever. I think that ministry is too top heavy. So education is in a crisis, and that's what we need to focus on. Maurice, in Canada,
all right, so
just a second, Moylene is listening in Canada, and she says, is there a test or check of our children at kindergarten age? If dyslexia is a factor, why most of our boys and some girl children's inability to read? And she's talking about her own personal situation where her brother reads at maybe a grade 2 to 3 level, and she didn't understand why until she went to Canada and had her own children to educate, recognizing that there could be other considerations. So she's asking about testing.
No, there's no testing, and there's no doubt, Cabo, that there might be.
What about Michael? Michael does some testing,
Overwhelmed. Just through overwhelm. That's the only institution in Jamaica that does that kind of thing. That's the only institution in Jamaica that does that. Just think about a parent or a child from Westmoreland or St. Elizabeth have to drive coming to Kingston at a particular time. I mean, it's just not practical. It's just not practical.
But I think they have satellite offices though, like in St. Anne's Bay. I know there is one.
Okay.
But I'm not quite sure about other parts of Jamaica. But I take the point you're making that whole system would be overwhelmed.
We speak again to the structure in Akabu.
Yeah.
If without the data, we can't implement. If we don't do the testing, we don't know where the gaps are. And if we don't know where the gaps are, we don't know where the facilities are needed. That's why I always talk about getting the study done, getting the data. We need to get it. We can't move without the data.
Yeah. All right. Let me go through because we're running out of time and I keep interrupting. In terms of the solutions.
So the solutions was I started with literacy gap, close the gap, make literacy a national thing. Role models, male role models, expand the mentorship, including successful males from sports, from public service, from business. Key thing for me though is reform the teaching methods, Kabu. Reform the teaching methods. So we should have project-based learning, practical activities, and hands-on learning. And we should strengthen technical and vocational education. Not every child, as you know, not every child is going to become a scientist, a chemist, admats. And in Jamaica, we still parity on the non-academic subjects. So technical education should carry the same prestige as technical education. So a child gets 1 in physics and chemistry should be seen the same as a child get 1 in food nutrition, telework, electrician. It should same national profile. It's still a successful child. As a matter of fact, he probably is more successful child who does the physics and the chemistry. We need to shape that mindset. See a person with in these technical subjects. We don't highlight those technical subjects. It's only the admin, pure maths, and the physics and the chemistry. So kids automatically feel if you can't these subjects, we are not academically gifted, which is a fallacy. So we need to shift that mindset from early. And I don't know how this is gonna happen, but we need to increase parent involvement in their children's life.
Parent involvement is
yes. Yes, it's important. I mean, it's a responsibility that they have. You can't leave the responsibility to the minister, teacher, or to the principal. It's a responsibility to Kabu. That's where at home is where it starts. So we go around it, and the parents in the home must. You can't expect a teacher to look about 30, 40 kids and the parent them. You need to do your job.
The last announcement we heard about, parenting students, young people who are in school, is that AI was going to do some of the teaching. So it looks
and you and I have had a conversation about the way of AI is going in terms of not looking out for us, persons of our color.
Right.
not a good way.
We know that
not
already.
A good system. So not a good system.
So can you imagine?
Talk about, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Kabu.
No, I'm saying that the focus is on AI now when we are not ready. Obviously we have to embrace some of it, right? Because
some of it, yes.
But how do we balance AI and
with practicality?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I think your last question now, what is the national challenge for this? Because first, I don't think persons understand, Crime is a problem. This later on happens, the crime problem. If most of our boys are not getting educated and most of our boys are not going to school, then most of our boys will be killed by the police. It's just a fact.
Yeah, because we do have Marcia Palmer. She says the gangs make time for those boys. The gangs.
Okay.
And we see this happening. They live with them from school. They live with them.
It's an inevitable slope, Kabu. You have to. It's that digression. In education, you're encumbered by this life that you see. Because there are boys in education who is living a good life, and you're going to see that. you're going to go down that path. I think there's an article in the last week at boys, they prefer scamming. I saw it. You know?
Yes.
Education is them. The scamming is because they say their friends at 20, you're driving a nice car, living in a nice. Why do I have to go to school?
And I understand that this is a conversation now among young people. Like some of the girls are being drawn into these kinds of discussions.
Yes.
So we're in a crisis and facing a new crisis.
Crisis. And I mean,
so what all right, so these solutions, how much of it do you see in what the government put out? Because a lot of talk, right? We see a lot of talk about solutions, and if we can put that back up on the screen, Peter, the solution that the Minister of Education put out recently. If we could just go through them, I need to go through them quickly. We don't have much time, but it's interesting because this is a lot of talk. Again, Jamaica takes actions. Looking at boys in education. I just had it here. All right. Okay, so it's interesting to me that these are the solutions coming out of PEP, and every time we have PEP results coming up, every time we have Jamaica takes action to turn the tide for boys in education. 12 powerful remedies for change. And I'm not sure if you're seeing those on the.
I'm seeing them, Kabu.
Right. What do you think of them as you look at them?
Well, the first one is excellent. Establish a boys committee. That, as you know, that is something that I'm actually thinking about getting. I have some friends, male friends, to improve the performance. And then it's all right for me, Kabu. It's a grade 6 classrooms. At grade 6, Kabu is too late. At grade 6 is too late. We'll have to start before the primary level.
Right, because they're saying examining successful practices in schools, including separating boys and girls in grade 6 classrooms, which has shown improved results for boys. Yeah. You're saying that's too late?
That's too late. Right. That's too late. We have to start early. Whatever intervention, it needs to be at the early childhood level.
And then this is about encouraging school leaders to try innovative teaching approaches and share successful methods with the ministry for wider use.
This to me look like it should be the other way around. The ministry should find out what are the new innovative teaching approaches that are globally get result, and then mandate schools to use them.
I think somebody used ChatGPT and write this. This is like a ChatGPT. Don't somebody just put it in ChatGPT, come up with them, and give them to JIS, and JIS write the story. And once JIS write the story, I asked ChatGPT to streamline them for me, and this is exactly it. ChatGPT did what it did before.
Yes.
This is very interesting, though, because they seem so generic and so non-specific, and like somebody just tried to cover the tracks.
They are not specific to Jamaica's own situation. See, like number 9, address boys' underachievement as a national priority and learn from regional and international best practices. I mean, we know the best practices. We know what to do. We don't need to learn anything no more. We need to just implement what we want to implement.
Because the Minister of Education has to go dance through the airport to go to England to see how them doing apprenticeship there. This is a disgrace to the nation. Listen, I'm hearing from a special education teacher. She says, I'm a special education teacher for 32 years and tons of gaps in our system. Number of students in the secondary school system are performing far below grade level. They must suffer graduating at below grade 1 level.
Whoa. That is, I mean, it should not be surprising for somebody like me who have heard about some of these incidents.
I feel weak.
When a child reaches grade 11, Cabo and carry that grade level, we have a crisis. We have a crisis.
Goodness gracious, my body weak. I'm probably have to sit down. No, honestly. And we're out of time, Maurice, I'm going to give you 1 minute to wrap up. And you have to come back.
So how this issue affect our national competitiveness? Half our working population cannot be heard, and we're nationally competitive. So we're a productivity problem, I want to address productivity, but we're not addressing the fact that half of our working population within the next 10 years might be useless in every way, shape, and form. Economic growth. We have an economic growth problem. If half of our population can't work or are unable to work, we're gonna continue to have an economic growth problem. Family formation, Kabu. That is significant. If 90% of the students who are leaving, 80% leaving university are females, where are they going to get appropriate spouses from? I remember we call it a fertility problem in terms of average number of child per female. That is going to get worse. And then I spoke about the crime problem. So this affects our economic, social, and every structure in our society.
We're going to leave it there, Maurice. I ask you to come back. It is this serious. Thank you so much, Maurice. Thank you so much.
All right.
Listen up.
Thanks to your
Top
listeners.
draw, dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and the cash pot early bird draws.
The Supreme and let the games begin.
Good morning and a happy Rice and Peas Day to you. Now today is Sunday, July 5, 2026. I'm your girl Carrie Ann and welcome to our Early Bird Game Draw. Now before we begin, here's a quick look at last night's winning numbers. Now, just a quick reminder that all live games are being supervised by the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission and observed by the independent auditing firm PwC. And now, let's put some money in for your top draw. Now, this morning's top draw jackpot, of course, starts at $200,000. So, here are your winning top draw numbers. Here we go. And for Money on Top money, the first top draw numbers are 1. Right after 1. We have the number 18. Now the next top draw number coming your way this morning is ball number 6. Following 6, it's 14. And the final top draw number for $200,000 is lucky number 17. And now let's pick your play with the what or dollars game. So I hope you're feeling lucky. Here goes. And our early bird winning dollars numbers are making their way down. First up is 19. Next up, we have a double up, that is 22. Following 22 comes a solid number 10. Now the next dollars number to make its way down is a long 31. Here comes 36. And coming down slowly but surely, we have a countdown to the number 35. What is next? It is the number 8. Following 8, we have lucky number 28. Right after 28 comes the number 34. Next up is the number 6. And following 6, we have 27. And of course, we wrap things up this morning in our early bird dollars game with ball number 5. And now for some easy winnings with our pick 2 game. So get those tickets out and of course, let's play. Now the first pick 2 number coming your way this morning is 5. And our second pick 2 number, there you have it, it's lucky number 7. So again, the winning pick 2 numbers are 5 and of course lucky number 7. Up next, you can play it all of 3 ways. The game you can play straight, mix, and of course you know it. Just back it up. Here goes. Now first up in our pick 3 game, we have a 7. The second pick 3 number is 4, and our third and final pick 3 number coming your way is 5. So again, the winning pick 3 numbers are 7, 4, and the lucky number 5. It is now time to turn up your winnings with our pick 4 game. The game you can play straight or just simply mix it up. Here it goes. Now 9 is the first pick 4 number this morning. The second pick 4 number is a 5. The third pick 4 number coming your way is 0, and our fourth and final pick 4 number in our early bird pick 4 game is 4. So again, the winning pick 4 numbers are 9, 5, 0, and lucky number 4. Now this one easy for win. So let's heat things up with hot pick. And the early bird winning hot pick number to come your way this morning is lucky number 10. So congratulations, all our hot pick winners. Again, the winning number is 10. Now to all my cash pot players, and already know this, on the live to play it. But guess what? On the thing can win it. So let's get ready to be a big cash pot winner. And the early bird winning cash pot number is coming right up. It's lucky number 26. And the lucky mark is white man. And now let's mega on the winning. So good luck. Round and round they go. What will it be? Let's see. Here it comes. It is a mega ball that has been selected. It's now time for the big one. Of course, you guessed it. It's time for the monster winning. So good luck once more. Round and around they go. It is a white ball that was selected. So now, let's take a look at the early bird winning numbers. And of course, congratulations to everyone who won. And please make sure to come back at 10:30 a.m. for more games you love to play. I'm your girl, Carrie Ann. Have a supreme morning.
Hope you were a big winner. Play your favorite Supreme Ventures games every day and tune in for our live draw 6 times a day at 8:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8:25 p.m. on this station. Supreme Ventures, making winners every day.
All right, that was the early bird top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and the cash pot draw. Congratulations to all of today's winners. Join us again at 10:30 a.m. for a chance to win in top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and the cash pot draw.
It's the greatest show on earth, June 11 to July 19. The entire world will be focused on the USA, Canada, and Mexico. 104 matches, 48 teams, 3 host countries, 1 champion. Who will it be? Exhilarating, pulsating football. The Sporting Choice Irie FM has you fully covered with unbeatable features, stories, facts, and updates. Kickoff, scoreboard, keep up, and playbook. You nah miss nothing. We got it all.
Too far for Ronaldo to think about it. Absolutely sensational!
The football spectacle is brought to you courtesy of Kendall. Just give me my Kendall. Bad Dog, the bigger, better, badder sausage and bacon. Any bet, your best bet. Red Stripe, get in the game with Red Stripe and win. KFC, Pepsi Football Nation. Football, better with Pepsi. Digicel, turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. And the Caribbean Passion, smoked meats, easy eats. The greatest show on earth, June 11 to July 19. Right here on Irie FM.
It's Irie FM.
When I need to order concrete for my big or small jobs, I order only solid concrete. Yes, solid concrete mix for my money. The time by Solid Concrete Mix is...
Ready to take the next step towards home ownership? Then link up with the Irie FM team Saturday, July 11 at the NHT Home It Expo at Emancipation Park in Kingston from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, planning for the future, or ready to build your dream home, join us and get expert advice, free building plans, mortgage readiness checks, and so much more. That's a live outside broadcast from the NHT Home It Expo Saturday, July 11 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Emancipation Park in Kingston, live on Irie FM.
You're not saying nothing till you're Irie.
Sunday, July 12, the vibes are heading to Little Ochi Alligator Pond for the biggest seafood event of the summer, Little Ochi Seafood Carnival. Enjoy explosive live performances from Busy Signal, Chanel Muir, and Queen Ifrica. Music from Bass Odyssey, Star Level, and DJ Lollipop. Great food, great music, and unforgettable vibes. Little Ochi Seafood Carnival.
This football season, don't just watch the action, be part of it. With Chris and Charles Score Big Loan promotion, upgrade your TV, plan that trip, or handle what matters most, fast and easy. And here's the best part, every loan gives you a chance to win one of 3 58-inch smart 4K TVs. So while your favorite team scores on the field, you could be scoring big too. Promotion runs May 11 to July 20, 2026. Visit any branch or Chris and Charles for details. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Score big this football season on and off the field.
Love One Love All Promotions presents Love Injections 40th anniversary, the Summer Girls Fete Edition on July 11th at the Watermount Primary School, Point Hill, St. Catherine, with Candy Brawlin, Venom, Sean Tizzy, Brilliant, Fante Itop, and Lyri, with music by Love Injection, CJ Ice, Impact Sound, Six Pack, and DJ Russian. Admission 2,000 pre-sold, 2,500 at the gate. This is a must-reach. Love Injections 40th anniversary, the Girls Edition.
It's the greatest show on earth, June 11 to July 19. The entire world will be focused on the USA, Canada, and Mexico. 104 matches, 48 teams, 3 host countries, 1 champion. Who will it be? Exhilarating, pulsating football. The Sporting Choice Irie FM has you fully covered with unbeatable features, stories, facts, and updates. Kickoff, scoreboard, keep up, and playbook. You nah miss nothing. We got it all.
Too far for Ronaldo to think about it. Oh! Absolutely sensational!
The football spectacle is brought to you courtesy of Kendall. Just give me my Kendall. Bad Dog, the bigger, better, badder sausage and bacon. Any bet, your best bet. Red Stripe, get in the game with Red Stripe and win. KFC, Pepsi Football Nation. Football, better with Pepsi. Digicel, turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. And the Caribbean Passion, smoked meats, easy eats. The greatest show on earth, June 11 to July 19. Right here on Irie FM.
It's Irie FM.
All right, just before we go to our next very special guest, a few things we're paying attention to. One is that the High Court in Barbados has dismissed a Rastafari cannabis constitutional challenge. The High Court dismissed a constitutional challenge against the country's Sacramento Cannabis Act, ruling that its restrictions do not unlawfully violate the religious freedom of Rastafarians. Now, the case was brought by Paul Rock Rasimba through his attorney, Lalu Hanuman, who argued that the law prevented him from using cannabis during Rastafari religious ceremonies held at his home. He also argued that the 2019 legislation failed to accommodate Rastafari women who, according to certain religious practices, this is in the lawsuit, are not permitted to enter Nyabingi tabernacles while menstruating and must instead worship at home. He claimed that the law violated several constitutional rights, including freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly and association. What does this mean? In simple terms, the ruling means that Rastafarians did not win the case. The court decided that the current law is constitutional and so it will remain in force. So Rastafari in Barbados lost this case. It also means that religious cannabis use is still restricted in Barbados. Rastafari in Barbados cannot legally use cannabis for worship wherever and whenever they choose. They must follow the limits set out in the law. The court said the law does not violate constitutional rights, even though the claimant argued that his freedom of religion and other rights were being infringed. The judge disagreed. The law does not have to accommodate every Rastafari religious practice. This is another thing that came out. For example, the court did not accept the argument that women who worship at home because of certain religious customs should automatically be allowed to use cannabis there. Also, the government keeps control over how sacramental cannabis is used. The decision means the state can continue regulating who can use cannabis for religious purposes, where it can be used and under what conditions. And also, what it means in simple terms. This is not necessarily the final decision. The claimant plans to appeal, Rasimba plans to appeal, so the higher court could review the case and either uphold or overturn the ruling. The judgment could also influence other Caribbean countries because many Caribbean nations are grappling with the relationship between Rastafari, religious sacramental use, the cannabis laws, and the decision is being watched by many. The broader issues remain unsolved and unresolved. The central question is whether constitutional protection of religious freedom requires governments to allow unrestricted sacramental use. The Barbados High Court has answered no for now, but the appeal court could revisit that question. You know what's interesting about this? This is coming on the back of the CARICOM decision. CARICOM on Wednesday night, we spoke to Leticia Bohart, human rights attorney at law, about the CARICOM ruling. The CARICOM decision. CARICOM announced its intention to establish a committee to examine the rights and treatment of Rastafari. And we sat in for Muta and spoke to Leticia about this. And the signals that Caribbean governments recognize there are unresolved issues of discrimination and unequal treatment. Leticia Bohart talked us through that. So it's interesting that this is coming on the back of the ruling from the decision taken by CARICOM to address issues faced by Rastafari. Looking at cannabis, not merely a substance for Rastafari. Formal recognition is different from substantive freedom. These are some of the issues coming out of the CARICOM thing. So we're looking at that. It's interesting that this ruling is coming from Barbados at the same time that we're getting what we're getting from CARICOM. So it's worth noting and paying attention to this. Interesting. We're paying attention. Good morning to the House of Sibo. They were in the house with me on Wednesday night. We did play Nyabingi almost all night. The drums of Nyabingi as we sat in for Muta, linked with South Africa with Jalani Naya, the Rastafari brethren in Cape Town and Jablani. That was quite something. While they were in the House of Siba talked about the economic sovereignty. And it's something that we're paying attention to, especially with the work that the House of Siba is doing. We congratulate them for the work. The indigenous Rastafari community, they have also put out a public statement where they've said they're giving thanks for the Rastafari journey to economic sovereignty. The House of Siba indigenous Rastafari community extend our deepest gratitude to each and everyone who has supported our Rastafari journey to economical sovereignty initiative. Within the first 2 weeks of the launch of the official Rastafari Sacramental Ganja rolling papers, we are pleased to announce that a total of 737,000 Jamaican dollars in sales has been recorded. This achievement belongs to the entire Rastafari community, the House of Siba says. Every purchase is a step forward, building a stronger, more reliant future based on unity, dignity, and economic empowerment. And they say we sincerely thank everyone who has purchased, promoted, and shared this initiative with family and friends. Your continued support is helping to strengthen the foundation of our collective vision. From the House of Siba indigenous Rastafari community, we say many, many thanks. Please continue to support the movement and tell a friend. Together we can continue the Rastafari journey to economic sovereignty. The foundation of all greatness is economic independence and self-reliance. Word, sound of His Imperial Majesty, the Emperor Haile Selassie. We must become bigger than we have been, more courageous, greater in spirit, larger in outlook. We must become members of a new race, overcoming petty prejudice, owing our ultimate allegiance, not to nations, but to our fellow men within the human community. One perfect love from the House of Siba, indigenous Rastafari community, building indigenous sovereign Rastafari communities through faith, unity, and economic empowerment. We're following the economic empowerment initiative by the House of Siba, and once again, congratulations to them.
Get more miles with Ruby's Ultratech. Fuel the difference for peak performance and maximum savings. Drive more and save more. The time by Ruby's Ultratech is
8:48. Thank you so much for joining us inside of the Africa Forum. This is Running Africa, and going now to our next very special guest who is standing by, has been standing by. And thank you for your patience, my brother. Lloyd Diagualo, human rights activist, founder of the People's Anti-Corruption Movement, the PACM, He stood out as a defender of the people who were brutally attacked in Tivoli Gardens by the security forces in 2010. He has for several years been campaigning against police extrajudicial killings in Jamaica. Lloyd Diagbala is a journalist, having worked at 3 radio stations in Jamaica and at WBAI Radio in New York, where he started his radio experience. He campaigned against state corruption and on behalf of Nzinga King when her locks were cut while in police lockup. I think you're there, Lloyd. I'm not seeing you, but I think you're there. Are you hearing me? All right. Okay, let's see if this is better. How is this, Lloyd?
Are you hearing me?
Okay, loud and clear. Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, I'm still not seeing you. I figure you, I figure you are not on camera, so that's quite fine. We want to talk, Lloyd, a little bit about state corruption. I know that, you know, there's just so many places to start, but Jamaica is of particular concern, even when you look at Transparency International's latest rating, where we seem to be stuck in a rut. We talk a lot about changing the status quo, but as far as state corruption is concerned, we have been in this place, in this very same spot for quite a while, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Jamaica is regarded as one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And the latest Transparency International assessment of corrupt countries placed Jamaica at about 40, which means that the higher number is, the less corrupt you are, and the lower your number is, the more corrupt you are. And Jamaica has been regarded as a corrupt country, one of the most corrupt countries in the world for many, many years. And nothing has happened. You know, we, the people, have not put the kind of pressure that is necessary on the government to bring this to an end. And this is why I continue my advocacy, because I want to see change. Because Transparency International estimates that about $750 million are swiped each year by government and politicians each year. $750 million is a lot of money. And we must also remember that education is deficient, health is deficient, a lot of social programs are deficient, and $750 million could go a long way to solving that problem. And so therefore, if we want to end poverty and we want to address the education and health and all kinds of other issues, then we really have to tackle this problem. So the People's Anti-Corruption Movement has been advocating and calling for a People's Commission of Inquiry into state corruption. We have written letters to the Prime Minister, to the Leader of the Opposition, and to all members of Parliament, calling for this Commission of Inquiry into state corruption. But guess what? Not one of them has responded to say, well, yes, People's Anti-Corruption Movement, yes, Lloyd Aguilar, we received it, let's give it some thought, etc., etc. It's just not happening. And so it means that there is a serious corruption issue in the state structure, in the government structure. Here we are now, we're talking about Andrew Wheatley, and he hasn't been able to explain to the Integrity Commission the $1 million that they're asking him to explain.
Hold a minute for me, Lloyd, before you go on to Andrew, because I think that we're at a place in Jamaica where we don't even know generally, and this is my experience in just talking to people, what is corruption and what is state corruption. I think that because it is such a part of the very fabric of Jamaica, that what is corruption is no longer seen as corruption. And so the people become complicit in their own oppression. When we talk about corruption, what are we talking about?
Well, that is exactly why we need a commission of inquiry, because the politicians are able to pretend like they're following the law and so on and so forth. And you will hear Andrew Wheatley, or you will hear Ruel Reid, or you will hear Darrell Vaz, or the Prime Minister have some issues with the Integrity Commission, and then you don't hear anything more about it again, because they know how to exploit the weaknesses in the system. Ruel Reid, for example, the former Minister of Education, his matter has been before the courts now for more than 7 years. Right? And the judge recently ruled that, look, we're going to have to put a time frame on this thing. It's been taking far too long. So therefore, what we need to educate the people is a commission of inquiry where we're going to put these politicians publicly before the public, and we're going to ask them questions. Where did you get $160 million from? How did you get that? Why did you give a contract to this company when you are financially connected to this company? We need to be able to ask them those questions.
But let me ask you something, Lloyd, I don't want to sound simplistic, but I've been in this space talking about state corruption for a while. And one of the things that I noticed is that there is this new talk. Well, it's not so new. It's a new breed of talk that is focused on bad mind. So that when politician does something that we know by the definition of corruption, no matter which definition you're going on, that this is corruption, or it appears to be corruption from all indications, that the first thing you hear is that when people speak out your bad mind. And the Jamaican people, for the most part, have taken on to this way of seeing things and understanding things, that when you speak out against state corruption is bad mind. So if the people do not see this as corruption, and probably this explains why we had 44 out of 100 for so long. If the people don't see this as corruption, then that explains why the government is not responding, or the opposition not responding, because there is a conscious and a collective understanding of what corruption is not and what it is.
Well, you're making a very good point there, and that is why I'm making the point that I am making. It is not that the people don't know that corruption exists. You go in a taxi and you hear them talk about corruption and police killings and all that kind of stuff. The people out there know what is going on, but we don't have a structure where we can challenge what is going on in the proper way. We don't have it, because the politicians know where the weaknesses are and they know how to exploit it for their own benefit. And it's not, sometimes you hear them cussing each other, but both political parties are deeply entrenched in corruption. And so therefore, we can't depend on them. We can't trust them. We can't get trapped into the cuss that go on between them, because it's not sincere. And that's why we are saying that we need a People's Commission of Inquiry into state corruption. Now, if you look at some countries, especially in Africa, you will find that hundreds and thousands of people have been going out on the streets to demonstrate against the corruption that they see in their country. Thousands of people in some African countries are going out on the streets to demonstrate against police extrajudicial killings as a policy of state. Now, that is where we need to go in Jamaica. And I give credit to Advocate Network that they had a demonstration early this week. I remember it was Monday, that they had it, and quite a number of people showed up. Well, we need to go down that road. We need to go down that road, because the People's Anti-Corruption Movement has sent a letter as I told you before, to the politicians, to the leader of the opposition and the prime minister, and they have not responded. And the media is not challenging them either. Media is not taking them on and saying, Mr. Prime Minister, where you get all of that money from? Mr. Leader of the opposition, how come you get so much money? There is FinSac. There's all kind of things that is going on. The Prime Minister himself has been before the courts now for several years, challenging the Integrity Commission, the report of the Integrity Commission about how we acquired this wealth, etc., etc. And as I said, Royal Reid has been there now for over 7 years. The Prime Minister could be there for 7 more years, and so on and so forth. There are many ministers and politicians that I could name that have been brought before the courts, and some of them have paid $250,000, $900,000, etc. But that is chicken feed money. Chicken feed money, because if you have $160,000 as your asset, $200,000 is chicken feed money. You will be able to pay it, and so we have to begin to challenge them, and that is where we are going right now. It's we just can't have it continue anymore.
What are the consequences if we do not deal with this at some point? Obviously, you just mentioned the extent to which this has been an ongoing problem for the very longest while. But what are the consequences for Jamaica as a nation state if we don't deal with corruption seriously?
Well, look at it this way. As I said before, as a result, the Transparency International say $750 million are stolen each year. But I'm sure it's far more than $750 million. And we could just look at one example, the healthcare system. The healthcare system is in a bad shape right now. People get sick, they go to hospital, they don't have enough doctor, they don't have no medicine, they don't have no beds for the people. And guess what? They have also sent home the Cuban doctors and the Cuban nurses that were here helping us for many, many years. Rather than give them credit for what they have done, they've sent them home.
Hold a second. I've seen a story that over 50 Cuban nurses are coming back. I don't know if you've seen that, but hold a second. Let me just take a break.
Hurricane Melissa tested us, but Jamaica rises together. Visit supportjamaica.gov.jm to report damage, request help, or donate. Together, we will rebuild stronger. The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is...
No, a minute after 9 o'clock. So I was just saying that I saw a story, I think it's overnight, that over 50 Cuban nurses are coming back. Have you heard that or seen that?
I haven't heard that. That is news to me. But let's see if it really happens, because the American government is planning to attack Cuba after them finish the Iran situation. They have made it very plain that Cuba will be their next target. And so therefore, that is why they started out by saying, send home the Cuban doctors and Cuban nurses. And they're making allegations which cannot be proven that the Cuban government is exploiting these nurses and doctors. If you talk to them, a lot of them are very willing to come to Jamaica and other Caribbean countries and give service. They're not being exploited.
Right. Apparently it was reported by another media house here in Jamaica. So I just checked that. I saw it was reported by another media house. I can't verify it myself, and I'm not seeing Irie FM reporting it. It might be out there. But to what extent would you say that we're losing the battle against state corruption?
Well, I don't want to say we are losing it. I would say that we need to educate the people. We need to educate them. Organizations like People's Anti-Corruption Movement, we try our best, and it's difficult, it's challenging. There are about 2 other anti-corruption agencies that exist in Jamaica. National Integrity Action, and I think JAP. But guess what? When you do a little investigation, you find that they are being funded by organizations abroad, etc., private sector companies that there's questions as to whether these organizations really want them to go out there and really challenge the government about corruption. And so therefore, from my perspective, from the perspective of the People's Anti-Corruption Movement, it's difficult to work with these people. And so it's very, very challenging. We don't have the political movement that is necessary to challenge corruption. It can be done because the people them most of the system corrupt. Just like how, and if you want to talk about that, we can talk about that too. Them know say the police can go there and kill people whenever they want, and they have the authority and the impunity to go out there and do it. The people not stupid. They are not stupid at all. They know. It's just like we, the anti-corruption agencies, are just not doing enough to organize the people. And we're not against the system in a strong way as we ought to be. Because sometimes, again, where money is concerned, if this one or that one is offering you a couple $1 million to do your thing, you're going to do what they tell you to do. And I've had personal experiences where they whisper in my ear and say, Lloyd, we can't come to your public meeting because the board of directors don't want us to associate with you. I have gotten that several times.
Right, you and me both. And so the funding industrial complex is the death of us. It's interesting because sometimes it is from right within us that the advocacy, the activism, and the fight for liberation and for justice is being stymied because of funding. That is something that we're going to have to deal with at some point or the other. In terms of Andrew Wheatley and the Integrity Commission report, and now we have a situation where the Integrity Commission has said that it won't call for charges until this whole thing goes through the court. Now, you mentioned this before. What would you like to see happen? Because obviously he's not the only one. We've had this, the Prime Minister's own situation has been, up in the air for some time, and on both sides of the house. So what would you like to see? And would this be for everybody or just for Andrew Wheatley, because this is the latest one?
Well, let me put it to you this way. There can be a short-term solution and there's a long-term solution, okay? We just don't have a really, truly independent anti-corruption agency that is connected to the state. It just doesn't happen. Integrity Commission does some good job, but guess what? Integrity Commission is not the one that is going to do the prosecution when the matter goes before the courts. It is now the Director of Public Prosecution that is going to do the prosecution. And the Director of Public Prosecution is compromised and connected to the political system. Again, coming back to police extrajudicial killings, you have INDICOM, which will investigate police killings, but INDICOM cannot prosecute. INDICOM has to turn the file over to the Director of Public Prosecutions. And then the Director of Public Prosecutions may very well not do a good job. And so therefore, a lot of the cases against the police never go forward. And the police will now say that we're making trouble against the police because very few of us are convicted. Well, very few of them are convicted precisely because how the system is set up, and it's set up to give them impunity. Well, the same thing with the corruption situation in Jamaica as well. It is set up to give them impunity. And as I've said before, somebody like the former Minister Royal Reid of Education, his thing has been before the courts for years. So is the Prime Minister situation before the courts for many years now. So how are we going to deal with it? We either going to have to be like the Africans, or we have to go out in the street, or we have to go protest, or we will have to say to the government, if you want to have credibility, then it means that we need a commission of inquiry where you can be asked questions publicly and you have to give an answer. But right now they don't have to give an answer to anybody. They can claim that it is their legal right, their constitutional right, etc., etc. And the Constitution is not it has its shortcomings as well, if you know that. We were supposed to become a republic, and all know we can't become a republic because the two sides are fighting each other and going on. But the problem is that even if we became a republic, will it be a corrupt republic, just like how we are a corrupt monarchy? So that is really what the issue is. We have some serious fundamental issues in Jamaica that we need to challenge.
It's a very good point you make, because going back to the Transparency International data, just looking at the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago as a republic is also where it is. I mean, Barbados obviously not there. Barbados is in the 68, and as you point out, the lower the numbers are, the more corrupt. So Jamaica 44, Trinidad and Tobago I think 41. But I find it interesting that to go back to your point of writing to both sides of the house and you not getting a response. What do you expect? Because how many times have you written? And if you do not get a response, then what from here?
Well, as I said before, we are doing our advocacy. We'll be having a public meeting within a couple of weeks, but before the end of July. We'll probably at the University of the West Indies. We've had public meetings before. We have tried to have demonstrations, hold up a placard here, hold up a placard there. Right? So we are going to go back, but we are going to continue. I love to be on a program like yours, and a few other radio stations have invited me in the past to be on, and we're having the similar kind of conversation about it. But I would encourage programs like yours, Running Africa, to really focus on this kind of thing, because people respect what you do and people listen to what you do. And, to just make the people know, say, you're not putting up with no corruption. And there's an organization called People's Anti-Corruption Movement. Get in touch with them and see if you can work together with them, etc., etc., etc. So it's not easy. Good question you're asking, but I don't have an immediate solution apart from the fact that you have to roll up your sleeves and you have to go there and do what you have to do. It's just like Sam Sharp is my national hero, because Sam Sharp went out there and organized the slaves, right? And then the slaves said, boy, it's not about religion or anything like that. We don't want to be slaves anymore. And so they rebelled against the system of slavery, and they didn't succeed. But when they were going to hang Sam Sharp, he said, I would rather be hanged than continue to live as a slave. Don't want to live as a slave anymore. And that is the kind of position that we need to take. We don't want to live in a corrupt country no more. We don't want to live in a country where police extrajudicial killings is a policy of state, right? And the police have impunity for what it is that they do. We don't want that anymore. And we have to get up and stand up. Like the song says, get up, stand up for your rights.
Obviously we're in a crisis, corruption, state capture, and public trust. It really is a fight for Jamaica. And this is, I think, where the understanding. That's why I keep going back to. I'm not quite sure what's happening, but this is where I keep going back to. We the people, and what we are allowing, and how we are thinking, and how the system is set in such a way to make us encourage and participate in corrupt practices, as opposed to holding those who are leading this to their feet to the fire. So my question, I think, at the end of the day is this. can we? I know that I know how this question sounds, Lloyd, but and it's not apathy. It is that it comes at me all the time. We were out protesting on Tuesday, and I posted on the social media. I'm afraid to even go back and look. People are telling me left, right, and center that I am getting the worst kind of cussing online because I participated in a protest against corruption, calling for transparency. But our nation is set up in such a way that tribalism has taken over, and there is no gray matter, there is no middle road. These people who are looking for a better state, a better nation, who think we can be better, who go out and protest, are now branded as being one political party or the other. This, of course, is part of the crisis, isn't it?
When you want to say, don't worry about being branded. Okay, them say Kabul is so and so and so. Let them go ahead and do it. Right? Take it as a compliment. Because listen, you must remember, in the last
coming to threaten your purse, not when you are met in crowds and people drawing the sword at you, not when people are trying to hurt you in public.
I understand. That's why I mentioned that in Sam Sharp. That's why Sam Sharp said we're rather dead than continue to live as a slave. Right? Must remember, Kabul.
We must learn and stop talking about that. We must learn from Sam Sharp, because while Sam Sharp, he went out there and at the end of the day he was betrayed by his own people. Paul Bogle was also betrayed by his own people. So at what point are we going to learn from the mistakes of our liberators?
I don't know if I want to say that Sam Sharp was betrayed by his own people. He was supported.
To retrieve and all the way into
what I mean is, I make a distinction. Sorry, I make a distinction between the slaves who are out there fighting, them burn the plantation. Those are the people that Sam Sharp organized. Of course, there are others who would say, boy, you don't like what you do, etc., etc. But as I said before, Sam Sharp said, I would rather die on the cross. You can hang me, but I don't want to continue to live as a slave. So I give him deep credit for that. And you must remember now that in the last general election, it's only 30% of the people who voted. So it means that 70% of the people in Jamaica do not support these two corrupt political parties, right? That is a very important statistic. And so therefore, it becomes on us now to, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter how challenging it is, to go there and strongly and, decisively stand up against the system and not be afraid to call it corrupt and violent. We have to do that.
I do agree with you, and I am able to say what I'm saying because I have been out there and I continue to be out there. You take the point I'm making. That this is part of the difficulty that the people who are calling for transparency and people who are calling for justice, like myself, who are out on the road with the placards, whether it is me and two people, really doesn't matter, but we are out there on the road. And so it goes back to the question I'm talking about. To what extent is public education important in all of this? Because if Jamaican people don't think that they're in a situation where Jamaica is in crisis, where this is a fight for Jamaica, where there is state capture, we could talk until the blue in the face of politicians will do what they want to do, as they are doing now. And we'll continue to do so.
Yeah, but that's the point I'm making, Kabul. I am saying that even if it's me one to go out there with a placard, I am not going to be intimidated. I am going to go out there and do it. If the one said, boy, I lied, he's the only man in Jamaica who's fighting against corruption, so be it. Because when my time has come, Nobody can say I compromise with corruption at all. They said he stood up against corruption, against police brutality, etc. And I am motivated by my belief that the overwhelming majority of the people understand corruption, they understand police brutality, and as I said before, only 30% voted in the last election. The media don't really go and talk to the people and allow them to express themselves. It's middle class people who write letters to the editor and so on and so forth, and they are the ones that are getting the publicity. So it's like Bob Marley sing the song, get up, stand up for your rights. Don't give up the fight. And that is what I believe in, and I think we'll adopt that policy.
My colleagues will certainly be upset with me if I do not say that Irie FM has been out there on the road in the communities talking to the people about these issues. I will not stand and let you say the media generally, but I do understand you. We continue to see ourselves as the People Station. But thank you so much, Lloyd Diagola. Thank you, as usual, for the work that you're doing, for the fight that you're fighting. And we'll keep in touch with you on this issue and also on the PAC.
I thank you very much, Kabu, for having me on your program. I admire the work that you do. Keep up the fight, and you will have my support at any time.
Thank you so much, my brother. Take care.
All the best.
Smoked meats ready in 1, 2, 3. That's Caribbean Passion. The flavor is bold. The quality is true. From breakfast to dinner, Caribbean Passion makes every meal a winner. Bacon, sausages, chub hams, corned pork, even Christmas hams too. Look for the purple pack in supermarkets island-wide. Caribbean Passion smoked meats. Easy, never tasted so good.
Distributed by CB Foods, the family behind CB Chicken, Bad Dog, Couplewood Pork, and many more.
Public transport operators, the People Station Irie FM continues to put a spotlight on you with Red Plate Spotlight. Yes, we can win big, up to $50,000 5 days per week by keeping locked into the nation's #1 Irie FM. All you have to do is send in your plate number via WhatsApp to 876-350-2838 and just tune in to the 107s to hear when your plate is announced. You don't have to send your plate more than once. As one sent in, it will be announced some random day, giving you 20 minutes to claim your cash prize. Red Plate Spotlight is brought to you by Tiles Are Us. Balance Valley St. Elizabeth Tiles Are Us. Massive auto parts and car sales. Link us first. Pineapple Ocho Rios 876-298-6413. We got you covered.
The summer starts on July 11th at Cornell Cove, Moran Bay, St. Thomas. It's Purpose Slush! Free rides and health checks all day. Free school bags and entry. Performances by Dancing Rebel, Hilarious Granny, Kimar, God the Magician, and Oh My Word Boss. Lots of music, games, and giveaways. Admission $1,200 pre-sold, $1,500 at the gate. See the press for ticket outlet. Sponsored by Sagicor Life, JASL, TVJ, and Atlas Protection. Saturday, July 11th. It's Purpose Slush!
On Saturday, July 11th, all roads lead to the mass camp for Ray and Nephew Joyride with a special performance from Baby Sham. Admission $1,500 pre-sold, $2,500 at the gate. VIP $5,000 pre-sold, $6,000 at the gate. Ticket outlets: Bonton Pharmacy, Portmore, Barbican, Waterloo, Genius Pharmacy, Portmore, Avery's Beauty Concept, Ruby's, Halfway Tree, So Seafood, Arcari, Club Top Plaza, Footprints Cafe, Wave Deck, Halfway Tree Mall. Online at caribtix.com. Ray and Nephew Joyride, Saturday, July 11th at the mass camp.
There's a new pharmacy in town, Calvin's Pharmacy, now open, 8 Peck Street, Linston. Better health, better prices every day. 8 Peck Street, Linston, Calvin's Plaza, Calvin's Pharmacy, up to 20% off all prescription, all health cards accepted. 8 Peck Street, Linston, Calvin's Pharmacy, open from Mondays to Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Call or WhatsApp 876-440-2108. Calvin's Pharmacy, better health, better prices every day.
Need information on everyday financial matters? Then check out the Financial Corner. This and every Monday at 6 p.m. during live at 5:45. We give relatable financial information, the latest financial news, as well as financial tips.
Brought to you by Quartz Ready Cash. Ready when you are.
JN Life Comfort Burial Plans, helping you protect the ones you love.
That's Financial Corner. This and every Monday at 6 p.m. on the nation's #1 Irie FM.
Twenty-three minutes now after 9 o'clock. You're inside of the Africa Forum. This is Running African. We're going through until 10 o'clock. The Big A comes in at 10 with the Sunday sunshine. Hey, we are actually going to be talking to Ghana, going to be making a link with Ghana shortly to talk about with Prime Eye, Mutala Muturi, looking at the floods in Ghana. You know, there's been flood rains, not just in Ghana, but in Cote d'Ivoire and parts of West Africa. We've had some flooding. But just before we go to Prime Eye, you know, earlier this morning I touched on something that I wanted to spend a little bit more time talking about, which was xenophobia in America. We do not talk about xenophobia in America. We talk about xenophobia in South Africa, but the very same cabal that's driving the xenophobia in South Africa is the very same set of people who are driving it in the UK and in the United States and in other parts of Europe. As a matter of fact, I think Europe passed a law. I'm not quite sure when it was. I think it was a few days ago. That's very similar to the immigration xenophobic laws that have been passed in the United States. So to take you through the xenophobia in America timeline, because you tend to call it immigration and you call it third country deportation. I'll tell you what, the law that was passed in the European Union 2 days ago, that law is permitting third country nationals deportation. The European Union passed the exact same law that is being challenged in the Supreme Court of the United States right now, that Jamaica has signed on to in terms of the MOU, Dominican Republic, and so many other African countries. But if we look at xenophobia in America, and I think we have a timeline. Okay, so you're looking on the screen for those who are watching online, on YouTube, IG, and so on. Yesterday, the 250th anniversary of the independence of America, we had 500 xenophobic so-called white nationals marching through Washington, D.C. You can see them on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or IG. Marching through, they're wearing masks, they're wearing black shirts and khaki, they're carrying American flags, some carrying the Confederate flags, and they're shouting, "Reclaim America." And they widely covered enough, and interestingly enough, nobody has used the word xenophobic up till now. But let us look at a timeline. 2017, we saw the xenophobic America, the immigration policy timeline, a condensed overview. 2017, we began to see the entry restriction begin. The travel ban restricting entry from several Muslim majority countries under national security justification. We saw the early push for border wall construction. We are going to build a wall and Mexico will pay for it. Xenophobia. Then in 2018, we saw the enforcement escalation. Zero tolerance. Policy mandates persecution of illegal border crossing. Family separation. Remember all of that. That was 2018. Nobody said xenophobia, but that is xenophobia in America. 2019 to 2020, we're watching the asylum restrictions, remain in Mexico policies, and immigration enforcement becomes more structured and more system-wide. Then 2021 to 2024, we have the timeline on the screen. We saw the expansion of the system, mass deportation framework developed as a central enforcement strategy. The debate emerges around rebranding ICE into NICE and part of an institutional restructuring narrative. Then in 2025, we are seeing the legal expansion phase. The Lake and Riley Act introduces mandatory detention for undocumented migrants charged with certain crimes. Here in Jamaica, we're hearing a correction from Ambassador Marks. She's saying there's a confusion or a conflation of what she said or what she meant in terms of seeking a partnership with the United States on deportations. She was talking about the deportation of undocumented skilled migrants. That is the very same thing as third-party deportation, third-party national. It's the same thing because they are deporting undocumented skilled workers. It's the very same thing. So I do not understand what she's saying. Anyway, then in 2025, we saw the legal expansion phase. Right, in 2026, we're now in the intensification stage. The overall pattern, a global shift from border control policy to large-scale enforcement infrastructure, expanded detention systems, increasingly militarized immigration governance. Basically, this is xenophobia. This is xenophobia. It is the same template that is being used in South Africa by the same people as we showed you earlier. You heard the interview with Alex Jones and Elon Musk's father, the reporting on Starlink. A lot of this is coming from Starlink too, believe me, go and look up the quarrel that Elon Musk has been having with South Africa because of Starlink. But more significantly, this situation in South Africa, as you heard from Poker Aviva this morning, Amun Ra, who is in South Africa, is really the intention and a strategic plan to get rid of the ANC and for the DA and the apartheid parties and the apartheid settler colonialism structure to reclaim and take over South Africa. He tells us that is already well in train, well underway, and basically it's just a matter of time. So this is something that we're watching very, very closely. There's a whole lot to talk about. The pictures coming out of Washington, D.C., they tell their own story. They tell their own story of how serious the situation is. Very similar pictures coming out of the United Kingdom, out of the United Kingdom generally, out of Europe. And as I said before, I'm trying to find that story where in Europe, and you're seeing the pictures on the screen of what happened. These pictures you're seeing on the screen, this happened yesterday at the 250th anniversary of a celebration of America's independence, Make no bones about it. This is the situation, the current situation in the United States today. The Ku Klux Klan in full gear, back out on the street, shouting, "Reclaim America." So I'm going to refer you to some of the programs we have done before, where we talked about the theory that they are the Great Enlightenment theory, and some of the discussions that we have had regarding what is now happening in the United States of America and how we have connected this not just to Europe, but to other places in Latin America, in South America, if you will, and how this is now a global issue. It's a globalist agenda, and it is connected to Project 2025. It is connected to the fact that they think that they're going to be killed off or die, and so that they're making a last-ditch effort. It's connected to Elon Musk and challenging the Black Economic Empowerment Constitution in South Africa. It's connected to the great replacement theory. So they've got a great replacement theory where they have more or less said, well, this is a belief that immigration, especially of non-white people, is a deliberate plan to replace white populations and erode other political, cultural, and demographic influences. And this is coming from the 1973 novel called The Camp of the Saints by Jean Raspal. And some of it is on the screen there. Dangerous consequences they talk about. We're showing you how it is used in today's politics. White matters because it forms part of the wider Trump administration policy. We hear Elon Musk, for example, talking about this all the time. So this is what it is. We take a quick break and we'll be right back.
This time signal is brought to you by Sandals Resorts, tourism that cares. The time by Sandals Resorts is
9:33. You're inside of the Africa Forum. This is Running African. I don't know if we can go to Ghana now. Let me know. Prime I should be standing by. And so we're standing by for that. All right, Isis, I'm seeing you. Grand Rising, give thanks for another powerful, informative program. Please announce the Patrice Lumumba flyer. Okay, let me see what this is. It says, Roots Rockers Reggae Dub Session, recalling Patrice Lumumba, who we talked about this morning, celebrating Malawi, Raspadam, Gamal, the Beat Maker, Skillful King, and Chrysler, DJ Architect. That's tomorrow, Monday, July 6, 2026, 7 p.m. to midnight at Nation Lounge. There you go, Nation Lounge. This is good. Roots Rockers Reggae Dub Session, recalling Patrice Lumumba. We're loving that. All right, as we stand by for Prime I, just once again to say that there is flooding now and it's really sad because so many people have died, you know. Thank you, Yefine. Keep up the fight, she says. Queen Mother Yefine, who is in the United States, she says it's time to do rituals to the ancestors. Yes, my sister. Thank you so much, Jawari Akhenaton. Jawari, my brother, happy belated birthday. We spoke to you yesterday, so we're going to do it publicly now just to say happy birthday to Jawari Akhenaton. Jawari celebrated his birthday yesterday. Happy solar return, my brother and friend, someone who is really a solid rock, a brother, an uncle, and a father to the Africa Forum and to myself. Thank you so much, my brother. Hope you had a great day and you're continuing to enjoy your birthday today. Take some time off, get some rest, right? And enjoy the moment. So, Jawari, happy from all of us here at the Africa Forum. Happy solar return to you. All right, my brother Irams. All right, we're not getting through to Primary. All right, my brother Iram said, blessed love, my sister. We must highlight the different use of cannabis so that the non-smokers of Rasta community don't seem to be supporting something they don't do themselves and still support the cannabis movement as a part of our legacy. And Moylene Samuels says, hurrah to the House of Seba. She says, I got hot chills. And quite a bit here. Andrew Lumsden, I'm seeing you. Cabo Verde, Egypt versus... Yeah, by the way, is there a match playing anytime now or not? You're totally out of it, right? Thank you, Andrew, for this. He says, love the feature. You need to clip it and send it. All right. He says, you can't get to grade 4 if you can't pass grade 3. What? Brazil. At 3 o'clock. Okay, Brazil at 3. When is Egypt playing? All right, so Brazil at 3. You know, we've got a lot. This is why Peter is excited for me, you know, because I got a lot of teams, right? Because as I said before, we're Wagonists, you know, and you know how it goes in the Wagonist Club. You can't come here with one team. It don't work that way. If you have at least 7, 8, 9. Mm-hmm. Tuesday. Oh, okay. All right, so the Pharaohs are Tuesday, and Morocco went in yesterday. Well, there you go. So we have something to think about today. Brazil. Thank you so much. Mexico, England today. You know, I find it very interesting. Oh no, I have a break. Look at this. I'm just chatting away and I got a break. My bad.
For 50 years, the NHT has been committed to helping Jamaicans become homeowners.
I've been at the NHT for 20 years and had the privilege of working at handing over ceremonies. Just seeing the joy of people getting those keys.
That's the kind of joy I'm looking forward to seeing more of.
As the NHT continues to put keys in the hands of more Jamaicans.
The National Housing Trust, 50 years of building communities and housing generations.
Cricket, wonderful cricket is back at Sabina Park with 6 exciting white ball matches between the West Indies and Sri Lanka. 3 one-day international gets the excitement going, followed by 3 T20 internationals and then 2 test matches in Antigua from June 25 to July 3. The Sporting Choice Irie FM has daily match summaries with the star commentator of the Caribbean, Andrew Mason. It's brought to you courtesy of New Horizon Pharmacy. We source, we supply, we satisfy. Real deal windows and doors for the best deals on windows, doors, shower enclosures, and glass railings. Falmouth Chicken, looking for scrumptious food? Falmouth Chicken is simply the best. Open every day. Beverly Hills Pharmacy, guiding you to a better health. And Contractor Music Marketing, promoting Good Up, the hit single from Chris Thomas and Shaka Paul, now available on all digital platforms. Good up, good up, good up, good up, good up. Cricket, wonderful cricket. West Indies against Sri Lanka.
Love One Love All Promotions presents Love Injection's 40th anniversary, the Summer Girls Fete Edition, on July 11th at the Watermount Primary School, Point Hill, St. Catherine, with Candy Brawlin, Venom, Sean Dizzy, Brilliant, Fante Top, and Lyric, with music by Love Injection, CJ Ice, Impact Sound, Six Pack, and DJ Russian. Admission 2,000 pre-sold, 2,500 at the gate. This is a must-reach. Love Injection's 40th anniversary, the Girls Edition.
The nation's #1 radio station, Irie FM, remains committed to community development across Jamaica. Join us this and every Monday at 6:30 p.m. right after sports for the community-based program Community. Community seeks to highlight the positives as well as struggles in our communities around the island. Join me, Roger Haspel, as I speak with stakeholders, and you can be a part of Irie FM's Community. Call us at 876-974-5051 or email roger@irefm.net and request your community to be featured.
Brought to you courtesy of Kings and Queens Awnings, promoting Truthful's brand new single, The Country I Run Down, available on all musical platforms.
That's Community. This and every Monday, right after sports, in live at 5:45 on the People Station, Irie FM.
You know, my sister was in Tunisia, right? Whose team went home from a long time, writing about how many teams you need to have to be a wagonist. Listen, you should have named the teams before, Miss Elaine. You should have named the teams before if you don't name. But we can bring you over like we bring Muta. Muta don't tell me say I want to be a wagonist, you know. But Muta is saying 1 Brazil, 2 Brazil, 3 Brazil. And Brazil is one of my teams, and this is why I'm looking out for Muta to say, Muta, I mean, the ball is round, anything can happen. And if it does happen, then you are a card-carrying member of the Wagonist Club. And I know he doesn't want it, but we're still giving him a leeway. And here's another one who don't want it, Peter. It's in mourning. But as for me and my house, which is Walipawe, I may also give it to Kishima. And Big A is there too, you know, because Big A says that he's carrying the entire continent of Africa. So I think that is like playing marble. Big A have a good tar. You ever play marble yet, Peter? You know what a tar is? Tar. When I play marble, which one of them named tar? Tar, not the one where you use, because if you have one, if you have a marble in your hand for throw, now you tar that. TAW. I think it's a Mandarin word or something. You know, funny enough, talking about Mandarin, we're holding on for primary who's in Ghana, right? But talking about Mandarin words, is enough Mandarin words we have in our lexicon, you know. For example, how do they say in Mandarin, how do they say get out or go away? Do you know? Gue. 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 Me just say. And then, you know, well, this is a word that I know from a barn, right? Because my father always said, him not kowtowing. My father black and proud and him not kowtowing. So we know that word. As a matter of fact, when I realized that word wasn't like a Jamaican patois word, I was shocked, like flabbergasted, because that is my father word. Him not kowtow, and I don't kowtow. And we later on came to find out that kowtow is not just bowing. To kowtow is to go lower than bow. It's to go down on the ground and knock your head down there for quite some time. And my father would never kowtow. Him not bow and him not kowtow. So we grew up that way, understanding that you do not kowtow, right? For whatever reason, you'd never kowtow. So that word well, you come from China too, and there are many others. I suppose we can. But the one that really is significant, and this is not from China now, right? All right, so my brother Kimathi Nkrumah, who is listening in Kenya, he says the system, using the Peter Tosh, the Peter Tosh way of saying the system, miseducating our youths, it's academic genocide. He says the miseducation of the Africans. And he says, and then he goes on to say, all right, all 10 teams on the continent is I team. And then he says, tell Biggie him on point, all 10 team is I team. All right, so I've sent that out there. Natisa, I'm seeing you. Oh, Natisa said, tar is a pretty marble. Oh, tar forbid a pretty marble. All of the marble them pretty. I thought tar was like anyone where you get for play. Like, give me tar. Like, you know, like when you... because to play the marble... Look here. Look it up, not Peter. Somebody has to look up this word tar. I think it's spelled T-A-W. I could ask AI. T-A-W. What is that? All right. Anybody can tell me what is tar? The line? And that is called tar? No, go so. The Google? All right. As a noun, tar, marbles, a large choice or fancy... Not easy as a fancy marble. All right, a large choice or fancy marble used to shoot other marbles. It can also refer to the baseline or the tar line. So the tar line is a line you draw where the players stand to take their shots. Anyway, so my sister arrived from Tunisia, and you can bet you she knows as well. Let me see what she said. All right, she said, okay. Oh, she said the pretty marble is called the Pepsi. I said, put on Pepsi. I never hear that word yet. And me and her grew up together out of the same house. The pretty marble is called the Pepsi. Pepsi? No, so I never hear that word, lady. Come again. And Natisa says she win. Natisa, you don't win. Because the tar... Mr. Nicholas, all right. Let me see what Nicholas say. Nicholas say it's a main marble. What do you mean by the main marble? What do you mean by the main? Larger than what? A larger marble? Oh, so it's the one where you used to shoot with, and it's bigger than the others. Slightly bigger than the others. See, you know? So Nick says a main marble. And enough people are right, and I say, okay, let me see what Nkrumah say. Nkrumah say is the extra one. Nkrumah, stay in Kenya and stop talking. You cannot participate because you never play marble. What do you mean by is the extra one? Extra oh. Oh, him say yes, the preps. So the preps, which one is the prep? Oh no, look here, no take time with me because the text them coming in fast and furious. And Let me see what Andrew is saying. Andrew, you never play marble, right? He's telling me that his niece just landed in Italy to this news. Which news, Andrew? Coach Stephen Franz. Oh. Hold on there. Roger says the Tor is your main attack marble used for shooting. Your main attack marble means is a marble is the one where you always have. No, yes, that is it, Roger. Your main marble you use for shoot. Talk me feel for play some marble here right now. I think we should have a marble competition right out in the yard in the area from there. So thank you, Roger Hasfold. You just got it. Raj, can you tell me anything about Coach Stephen Francis? Because I'm not seeing anything, and but somebody just sent me something. Gleaner. Oh, what Gleaner says? Wow. Oh, can you put it on the screen? I see my friend Busy Campbell. Let me see what Busy is saying. Okay, Busy, can you Busy? I know you have your ears to the ground. What are we hearing this morning? And I'm probably late about. To his colleagues and to the track and field world, the legendary Jamaica track and field coach. We understand that he passed away late last night, July 4, at the age of 64, the co-founder and technical director of the MVP Track and Field Club, died following a period of illness just one day after celebrating his birthday on June 3. And I see Roger has sent me the press release from MVP, a statement from the MVP Track and Field Kingston. It is with profound sadness that the MVP Track and Field Club announces the passing of our co-founder and technical director, Stephen Francis, last evening, July 4. Stephen was a visionary coach, mentor, and leader whose unwavering commitment to excellence transformed the landscape of athletics in Jamaica. I'm gonna send this to you that you could put up on the screen also. All right. So we're getting this news now. I suppose it's been out for a little while, but we're getting this news now. His exceptional ability to develop talent combined with his relentless pursuit of excellence and deep belief in the potential of those he coached helped shape the careers of Olympic and World Championship medal winners, world record breakers, and numerous other athletes, while establishing a standard of coaching that earned worldwide respect. And Bruce James, president of the MVP Track and Field, said, Stephen Francis changed the trajectory of Jamaican athletics for the better. He proved that Jamaican athletes, guided by Jamaican coaches, supported by Jamaican management, and training in Jamaica, could become the very best in the world. His vision, uncompromising pursuit of excellence, and belief in the potential of our athletes transformed not only countless individual careers, but also the standing of Jamaican athletes on the global stage. His legacy will endure for generations. So that is from MVP Track and Field Club. Coach Steve, I know he's going to take you by surprise. Coach Stephen Francis. Yeah, I know. Last night. Stephen Francis leaves an extraordinary legacy that will endure through the achievement of the athletes he guided, the coaches he inspired, and the culture of excellence he instilled. May he rest in peace. 7 minutes now, going up to 10 o'clock here inside of the Africa Forum. Once again, to the industry, the sporting industry, to his friends, to his colleagues, to the athletes, and to those he coached, to those who were very, very close to him. I mean, he is a son of Jamaica. He's like all of us uncle, you know. So to hear this, it is very, very sad news for all of us. So my deepest condolences to family, friends, the athletic industry, the sporting industry, and to everyone who knew, and even if you didn't, who loved Coach Stephen Francis. Just about 8 minutes to go before 10 o'clock. The brigade's in the house already, and we'll be taking over at 10. I think Stephen Francis is somebody that you always talk about, right? Every once in a while. Pretty often. Yeah. And I'm sure if you're hearing Bigay, but he says that there's a saying among his friends that once Stephen Francis has you under his wings, then you're destined for greatness. You know that. Yeah. Yeah, so this is a great loss to the athletics industry. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you talk about university. It's a university. Stephen Francis is a whole university. He is. You know, so he will definitely be missed. You know, and really shocking news for me. Yes, we did because we heard he was ill, but we just didn't know, right? Because it was like in the last day I heard. You didn't hear at all. So, yeah, it's pretty shocking. It's pretty shocking. Andrew Lumsden, thank you for alerting me to this, and Roger Hasfall for ensuring that we got the information out. And thank you so much, Peter Broadbent. Thank you for listening on the 107s. We discussed your favorite topic this morning, by the way, boys in education. It is, I don't know how much you have seen in the last few days outside of the PEP, coming on the back of the PEP exams. It is, I think, maybe worse than it was last year. This is how it looked to me, just by looking at the PEP. But I know you're going to look deeper into it, as usual. So that is happening. And another thing that has happened is that the Ministry of Education has put out some ideas as to what some of the remedies will be. So I suppose you look at that too, and we can talk about it another time. So this is what is happening. Sorry, we're going off on a kind of a sad note, a pretty sad note for Jamaica, actually, in the middle of football, that Coach Stephen Francis has transcended. Once again, our deepest condolences to all of Jamaica, to the sporting fraternity, to the media fraternity, to every one of us who for us, Coach Stephen Francis was uncle. But to those who are closest to him, his family, his friends, his colleagues. Thank you for... Well, we are in the same thing. I mean, I'm a little bit better than you because you're going with the entire continent of Africa. So you have Morocco in there now. And you're likely to have Egypt. We never know. So at least, right? But I'm going with the entire continent too. But then I have, like 10 more. I have like 10 more. So I can tell you something.
48 nations, you have about 35.
Right. You have 36?
No.
I have proper. Yeah, I could have about. Look here, the only team I don't have in this, 2 teams I don't have in this match. One definitely I do not have. Right? I do not have Argentina and I don't have England. Those are the 2 teams I really don't have in this match. And if push comes to shove, because of Kylian Mbappe, I'm going to sit on the fence with France. Right? But outside, and me not care if Saka, me not care with Saka there, but me do not have England. Right? And I do not have Argentina. So me good, but I don't know about you. You're Morocco.
I am not so diverse.
Oh, you okay? You're not a pure wagonist.
No.
Yeah, but you see me, I'm a purist. I'm a purist. Because especially when it comes to football, wherever the wagon is going, I am on it. That is where I will be. I love that one. That is where I will be. Yes.
Yeah, I'm on the wagon. Where is it?
I will be there.
Have you seen Cornerback?
Yes.
On any Argentinian day?
I was here with him the other day and he was chatting a whole heap of foolishness.
No. When
yes.
Argentina is playing, from his shoes come all the way.
Oh, that's what he's going
to any part of the anatomy that you can see is blue.
I thought I rebuked him on Thursday and I worked for Muta and I had to rebuke him in the name of everything, I rebuked him properly on Thursday, about this Argentina thing that he has taken up. Right, but I know he's been a fan. Then what about Robert Williams? Robert Williams. Long time, unless he changed last week. He's always been Argentina. I don't know if I'm changing, but he's Argentina. As a matter of fact, him don't even say Argentina, him say Argentina. That's what he says. I mean, it's his team. And I think Roger too. Roger, you right me if I not say go, but I think Roger too. So there's some backsliders here. Well, we'll go with Brazil. At least Brazil's constitution ensure that there's no racism. Argentina wipe out all the black people them could have find. I couldn't support Argentina on not even a rainy day. And I worse cannot support England. Then football is not politics. Football is politics and geopolitics. Tell me it's a football and not politics.
No. To the educated and sophisticated mind like yours. Other people just see it as 90 minutes.
Big give me a break. You see, Big Head pretend say give me a compliment. You not give me no compliment, To the educated and sophisticated mind like yours.
No, seriously. The average man on the road don't give 2 hoots about no geopolitics.
Right, I'm gonna let me dump it. I'm gonna dump that. I dumped that. I just dumped that begin. Nobody not hear you.
No.
I just dumped that.
It's alright. But
it's Juan Peter and me control the red button over here, so no, it's not him. Say, anything you say, so that don't make sense, because dump it right, so. No. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
That is what matters to them.
But isn't that that's the educated and the sophisticated mind? That is it. Those are the educated and those are the educated. No. I'm just a little African girl over here, sir, trying to survive in colonialism and understand when we see it. But that's what you just did about drip data intellectualizing the game. Oh, Big A. That is intellectualizing the game. For me, it is it's simple. It's fun. All right. Then well that's what I say, because look at France. I say, because of Kylian Mbappe, I will sit on the fence. I mean, I couldn't support France, but I will sit on the fence for Mbappe. So if France is in the right, Argentina and England, I shouldn't support France. Genocide. Yes. Them history. Yes. No, them.
Not what you have understood about this sport of football.
Any black team up on the Argentina team? Any black person on the Argentina team? They're not football, right? Want me to dump myself? You want me to dump myself? Which artist lifestyle you support, but you support the music? So what of the artists? Well, that cannot be true. But Jamaicans are say so. Or else some artist that was number one 2 years ago would have been number one today. Then Jamaicans don't dump the artists? That's what the point I'm making. If you can't dump the artists, why not dump the football side? I know you're not against.
Masses of Jamaica.
Right.
Unlike the music.
Right.
Where the
yes.
nuances of the behavior of the
right.
person are interwoven
right.
into the knowledge of the person. Because you're here and you want to know what they need for dinner, you want to know where they go to school, you want to know who they like, what their girlfriend, what their boyfriend.
Why? I don't want to know that. You mean the artist?
Yeah,
oh, I thought you meant the football team.
No.
Okay.
Okay. No, I'm just trying
to equate that. Okay.
I mean, how different football
is viewed as opposed to music.
From music. We are
right.
very intimate into the day-to-day behavior.
Jamaicans generally. But me, I am very, but so in that vibe, by that very same.
You see in Jamaica, here's the key difference between football and music is that music is not organized for Jamaica. Music is life. In football, organized is the way to go.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, that explains a lot.
4 years, every 4 years, we say Argentina, Brazil, Spain, Germany, Mexico, and after that we don't business with it again.
Well, that is true. That is true. That is true.
So this is
which month are we in now? July? This is your first win for the year.
All right, I'll take it.
Take it and go with it. I take the point. For people like myself who are Pan-African out on a limb, it's hard to support any of them, much less Argentina, England. So, and that is to say, we supported Argentina before we know the history, and then when we know the history, we had to take a decision. Right. So people are gonna walk slow. Yeah. That's true, and you never know that people, when they know the history, not just what I'm hear people are say, but the real history, might have a change of heart too, to say, but they don't even, it's so bad that they don't even have one black person on the team. All right. Well, Biggie, I have far to go, I have a little thing where I gotta do. I can't tell you on the radio. Oh, don't believe it.
Because
Ronaldinho? Oh.
Yeah, they mix up the name and then. So
Okay.
They don't even know the difference.
I know that because this is a organist thing. But Biggie, a real definition of the organist, though, you know, is that organists do them homework. So when the matches, this is my organist club. We do. This is the definition of organist. We know the names of the people, even if it is for right now. And we're not mixing up anybody.
No. It's for right now, but you don't know the history and you're passionate.
Right, but the real organist do a little background work though. Because you can't sit down, especially if I sit down with boyfriend or husband and watch a match. You have to have information. Well, you forget disturb your husband or disturb your boyfriend and get the information. You can't just sit down. I don't know why you're there, even though if you're a organist. Well, I am not that kind of organist. It's very short-lived, but it is well.
And that is why.
It don't have no death, but it have breath. You understand what I mean, Peter?
Hold on.
It don't have no death, you know. We can't tell you when last and win. We can't tell you when we shot them pay, but we can tell you. No, but remember, you know, I came on and defined organist the first day of the World Cup, you know. So that definition of a stand. That my credibility is on the line. No, I use every 4 years. It's the same definition that I've used every 4 years. Are you a organist? Huh?
I'm on sometime and sometime.
Right, so you're an organist with a PhD.
I am not.
Look here, see the time. May you go talk about this, you know? Because we not come to the game fool. We're organists, but we're not fool.
No, here the thing. I am not a passionate football person, but I love to see the game.
Right.
I like to follow it, but that's to say I am a Brazilian, Argentinian, or whatever. I have no.
You're not a committed organist. The committed organist.
I like football the way I like every other sport.
Right, that's the point. The committed World Cup organist is not a football fan, you know. Right.
And that is the point. That is why they don't take time to understand the thing and the historical.
But they are brilliant, and they will argue to the tea like I may argue, you know. This is what the committed organist does. Exactly where you're going yourself. Look here, Biggie, this is how we say goodbye. I know some of my friends who are listening, you know, I'm supposed to go, Biggie, I'm doing something very important today, you know. Very, very important. I cannot say it on the radio, so it means me have to leave you now. I'm already late. Right. So we're leaving it to the Biggie. And Peter, thank you again, as usual. All right. See you next week, inshallah.